Jack's RPG Podcast.
I'm in Max.
Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello.
Hello!
And welcome to Season 21, Episode 5 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
I'm not to your left. I'm Kadave.
I'm Jason.
Stork. And it's a sausage fest tonight.
It is a sausage fest.
We have no female energy to rein us in.
Yeah.
Mind us.
Getting wild up in here.
Yeah.
Woo! We have a game convention coming up February 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th at the LAX Hilton Hotel. Go to strategicon.net for information about that.
Can I toot my horn?
Toot your horn.
My pre-reg is all booked up.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Excellent.
For Strategicon. But that means there's 3 more seats still open at every
Right.
game. So come find me and play. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You want to show your game? What are you playing? What are you running?
It's called Demigods, and you play as a half-mortal child of a god in a sort of modern-day setting. And I think it's actually good, which is weird to say about something I made, but...
And I love your concept for the science gods.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
freaking hysterical.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of traction to the forums.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, well, what?
Yeah, I'm excited about it, too.
It's very smart.
Fantastic.
Shocked that Jason runs an intelligent game. Shocked, I tell you.
Who knew? It's really out of left field, but, give it a shot and see what you think. Speaking of shots.
Oh, yeah.
Are you...
So Jason is a tequila aficionado. Do you want to tell us what this is?
So I brought this one. This is from El Paseo. It's called Charo.
Gucci.
It's
We're old.
It's a reposado from Mexico, and it is a pretty darn good tequila that my wife brought back for me.
It is good.
So it's a sipping tequila.
I'm not a tequila fan, but I'm willing to give it a try. It doesn't taste like tequila, right?
No, it does.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
It actually is very mild for tequila. It doesn't have that...
Yeah.
It's not smooth.
I think it is.
But tequila is also not my jam. So I tried to sip, and it's not
all
my
right.
jam. But
Yeah,
it's
not my
okay,
jam.
because I brought a mess of Baileys.
Wait, is that all Bailey's?
It's a sippy cup of Baileys, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. There's ice in there, right?
That is.
There's ice.
That turns my stomach.
Do you want to put some Kahlua? I have some Kahlua.
Well, I got to drink it down a ways.
Okay, great.
What is happening?
Ready.
Do you want an umbrella with that?
What?
You know.
No, that's fruit drinks.
Oh, yeah,
Put
that's
umbrellas
true.
and fruit drinks. You don't put...
One of my favorite
That needs
kids.
whipped cream on it.
Yes.
One of my favorite Kids in the Hall episodes was a girl drink drunk. And this guy's like, oh, no, I don't drink. Oh, no, you'll like this. And they give him, like, this girl drink, and it's blue with an umbrella and, like, things. And he's hammered. And then he's in the copy room making girl drinks. And he's passed out on the sidewalk. It's just a downward spiral, and he keeps putting, in his, girl drink drunk.
When I was in college, we used to go to El Torito, which was right next to a movie theater, and we'd go and drink Blue Bye-Byes, which is like a Long Island iced tea with a shot of blue Curacao in it.
Tiny bowls.
Yeah, it looks like Windex.
Tiny
It looks
bowls,
just like Windex.
Yeah, it does.
And we'd have a couple of those, which is an enormous amount of alcohol, and then go watch a movie, and
And sugar.
a lot of sugar. Yeah. It was good times. In this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, is that Mr. CJ or MRCJ?
I'd go MRCJ.
MRCJ writes in about chases, and we will discuss. Gottfried asks if RPG dice are illegal in California. Isaac from Texas needs help. Allervant sends in a horror story, and Jason, different Jason. Different Jason?
Different Jason.
Okay.
That'd be awkward.
We are Legion. I mean,
Right.
But yeah,
There are a lot of Jasons.
Yeah.
It would be weird if you wrote an email
Yeah.
to the episode you end up on. Like,
I would definitely play it off as not me, though. So even if it was me, I'd say it's not. So really, we have no way of knowing.
That may have happened. I can't say, but that may have happened.
it may have.
Not from
yeah.
me, it didn't.
No, not from you.
In times past, it may have.
And Jason sends a horror story from bygone days. But first, if you would like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We have a social media. Twitter, happyjacksrpg. Instagram, happyjacksrpg. Facebook, happyjacksrpg. And you can watch the show live on Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific Time We do this show, and you can watch it on Twitch or on
The YouTubes.
YouTube Live. And
Yeah.
I actually have a lot of live viewers on YouTube
Astonishingly
Live.
so, yeah. I think
Which
there's
I think is
some
wonderful.
people that just don't want to do the whole Twitch thing with all of the annoyances that might be involved with it. So,
Right.
yeah, YouTube is actually...
The chat room,
Jamming.
we're using the Twitch chat room, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but you can open up a chat room in a different window. You don't have. And then you can watch it on
Well,
YouTube. If that's what you want to do.
Weird.
Don't
That's the
worry
weird
about me.
stuff. I've just been informed, though, that we went live on Twitch.
Yes.
Just now.
Yes, we have.
The internet told
In
us
case
so.
anyone was wondering.
If you want to watch us live, you can watch us live at happyjacks.org/live, and that will take you to every place that we do that thing. Any other announcements? Anyone have anything they need to do?
Well, what are you doing?
For the-
We
for the
started
con?
talking about the con. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I'm running Traveler Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition game. It's going to be based in the Ashes of Exodus sort of world, and that's a single mission. I'm going to have the players make characters.
oh, cool.
Try to get it done within an hour, and then have about a 3 hour.
Dave and I did that, and if you wanted suggestions, the only thing that we did is we limited it.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
think
was
it was
gonna
at
do.
3.
I think we
three
did
terms.
3.
I was going to give them a package of skills too.
And that helps, but our adventure was pretty much just class unrelated. The whole thing is they just had to get off world. But it does take an enormous amount of time, and what we found was people liked character gen almost more than the game.
Yeah.
yeah.
So be aware
It's
of the
a
fact
game.
that they're gonna get caught up in their characters, and
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, all right, and now you have an hour and a half, and I'm like, well, but I want to keep generating more stuff for my character.
Something that can really speed it up too is making sure you have as many copies of the book as you can.
Yeah.
I have the PDF, and I printed out the character gen section. I have like 5 copies of it.
Okay.
So-
Another thing that helps speed it up is shouting at them like a drill sergeant.
Yes.
Just screaming in their face to hurry the fuck up and finish.
Right.
People really like that. It's a good, like, kind of icebreaker.
Just like when
And-
you're trying to get your kids ready for bed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, and
your next career?
people
Yeah.
respond
Tell
well to
me!
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, people really like it.
I've just been informed I have to update stuff because I didn't do everything I was supposed to do when I did the thing. The other game I'm running is called Arkandale, and it's a scaled-down version of the Moment of Truth rules for kids. So
Oh,
it's
that'll be fun.
a world I've been working on. They've only got 4 stats, and it's character gen is easy, so no pre-gens this con. We'll see how it
nice.
works.
Yeah,
Hopefully that
nice.
works.
Very nice.
So
Character
all right.
gen's fun. Character gen is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think it gives you ownership. I think it's important.
Are you doing anything, Stark?
No.
Okay.
I'm not even sure I'm going to be there.
Oh, bummer.
Well,
All
my
right.
current job is busy, and I didn't have a great time last time. And the NBA All-Stars has got the hotel filled up, and the Moot bailed too. So I don't know. It's going to be a weird con. So I might drive down to just hang out after 4 when the bar opens. We'll see.
Just show up at like 3:45
Yeah.
and just stand out
Just
there.
stand out there, be that guy.
Open,
I know.
open,
I'll just stand there, and you'll walk up, and you'll stand next to me. and We'll go. We'll sit there and stare.
Grunts, grunt, grunts.
So I'm going to be running set in the same little city as our Tales from the Loop game on Sunday morning.
So I should sign up and get all the answers.
You should not.
Oh, all right.
You can. If
No.
you show up, that's your loss.
But I need a Sunday game. I don't have anything to do on Sunday yet. So,
There's lots.
all right.
I'm not the only
There's
one.
lots of walk-ins.
So I'm running that on Sunday, so I won't actually have anything to talk about on the podcast Saturday night,
Right.
except my experiences. I'm also assembling an outfit for a Friday evening game run by the notorious
Ah.
Dave 77.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he
Because-
does sort of spread all genres there, doesn't he? I mean,
He does.
It's multimedia when you go to play in a Cadet, or not Cadet, but Dave Kazay game.
Yeah. The basically he messaged me and said, "I have the guy you're going to play," and I was like, "All right, I guess I'll be in that game."
Yeah,
Here I
but
go.
I haven't played in one of his games, but I understand you should bring a waterproof poncho and hydrate well.
Yes.
Beforehand.
Earplugs are
It's like a Gallagher show.
Yeah, that's kind of what my impression has been so
earplugs,
far.
a thesaurus, and a dictionary.
All right.
He is the Gallagher of tabletop RPG.
They're multimedia extravaganzas. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, there's music,
awesome.
loud music, there's incidental music, there's theme music.
There's
It's-
parades
Oh, man.
Yes.
and
My
and
games are just
walkabouts.
talking.
Yeah,
That's what mine are.
and luchadors sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
luchadors are the
Yeah.
best.
Midgets.
Although Ali is looking forward to the competitive grill truck again.
I am too because I have to defend my title.
Oh,
Oh, are you
I am
the
a
champ?
reigning Strategicon competitive Gruul Truck champion.
How can it be? I mean, with Bill and his, what was it, the fries at Mordor? What was it?
No, it was
Freisengard.
Freisengard. Was our truck.
That's real good. I really like that. Are you going to be
And
signing
so awesome.
autographs? or-
Everybody was an orc in that game except for me. I was a halfling.
right.
That the orcs didn't notice because they're stupid.
Yeah, they are.
And there was Freisengard, and what was it? What were the name of the Gruul trucks?
Oh, I don't remember.
You guys
all
had to
of
come up with your own name, right?
Yeah, that was the one we came up with for that. Oh,
that's
in
real good.
a playtest, we ended up with Gruul Fellas,
Okay.
and it was all Goodfellas Italian food.
I think I suggested Allie call their truck Helm's Deep Fry.
Oh, nice.
Really? Man. All right.
But yeah, last con was the one where we won, and our prize was that the second place truck got to do our makeup
Right.
because Dave brought a whole makeup kit from
like
One
a One
Direction,
a
One
One
Direction
Direction
makeup
makeup
kit.
Multimedia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Man.
and Allie did a fine
I'll
job.
have to see if he's
I
running
felt
something
pretty.
on Sunday.
That's
Wait,
when Gruul Truck.
and here's my thing about the con. Maybe you can pick up the banner since I may or may not be there, which is I see the con as an opportunity to try games and systems I'd never tried. Rather than just getting in a game with Dave, who I play with all the time and can play with all the time. I want to meet new people, try new systems, explore all the possibilities out there. And this is a perfect time because it's a 4-hour commitment and you can bail when you're done.
You should jump into my PBTA game Friday night.
I don't think you need my help. Sounds like it's already full.
Zazamon said, I was in a Dave 77 game. I thought I wasn't too bad of a role player. My God, I felt like a Pinto in the Indy 500.
There you go. There you go. It really does
Oh, yeah.
raise the bar. I mean,
Yes, he does.
it's everything. And he even does too. He's like, he switches hats. He'll turn his back on you, come back, and he's got accents, and you're like, whoa.
My thing with him is really, for me, the most impressive thing about Dave's GMing style is that he comes up with the tiniest little characterizations for all the NPCs in a game.
and sticks with him.
And remembers them all and keeps them right. But, like, it's all just a shift in body language and posture and diction, and he just does it. Like, he doesn't do crazy voices and everything, but
He's good at accents.
yeah, he does some, but it's not like every character is like, well, it's a crazy German guy and a crazy British guy. You know, it's just sometimes it's all about the fact that suddenly his shoulders slump forward, or he's only talking at you glancingly out of the side of his eye instead of making eye contact.
He does a lot of work. He's exhausted at the end of these things. In fact,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when we played the Gong Show game, I had like a tiger, a pet tiger, and I'm sitting here talking, and I look around, and he's next to me, like looking up at me, like pretending to be the tiger, and I'm like, holy crap! I mean, the physicality he involves with his
Oh, yeah.
GMing style. It's humbling.
It is. It is. A lot of work.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
But
exhausting,
you just sit there and talk.
right?
That's my brand.
Yeah, well, Dave, we'd love to be as physical as you, but with the cameras, we can't just
Right,
cover every
yeah.
angle, so
Right.
we're limited. Otherwise we'd be just as good.
He's in the chat room.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
And
sure.
hello, chat room. It's nice to see all of you there.
Hello.
All right. Featured email, Chases from MRCJ, or Mr. CJ, or Merkja. Hello, Stewie and the Douche Cats.
Oh, that's so awesome. Let's do a teeny band. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So Stark said something the other day that got me thinking.
Oh no.
Oh,
He is bored of fights on rooftops and inside stables. And I thought, well, if a fight on a slanted roof in the rain is boring, or if the stable is on fire and there are animals running all over the place, and you can't see because of the billowing smoke is boring, well, I think you're doing it wrong.
Okay. It's not actually what I said.
I don't know what you said.
What I
don't
was trying to
remember.
imply was try to change up your settings, which is instead of just having a fight in an alley. In hindsight, I probably maybe should have given better examples, but do you remember the original 3 and 4 Musketeers with Michael York and Oliver Reed?
Vaguely.
All right, there's a wonderful fight sequence that takes place in like a washing area. They have these big vats, and there's dye and there's soap. So they're swinging around on laundry. It's wet laundry. The laundry women are all running and hiding. There's vats of dye to fall in. There's things to swing around in. And all it was opening a door, and they run in to hide, and they realize they're in this big laundry. That's all I'm saying is, instead of just having it happen on the alley, instead of having it happen on the rooftop, instead of having it happen in the inn,
Mix
which
it
we've
up.
seen a million times, make it a really interesting location, which gives you lots of things to play with. So in the 3 and 4 Musketeers, they're slipping on the soap. They're hitting each other with wet laundry. They're falling into vats of dye so the King's Musketeers, or not the Musketeers, the Rochelle, come out all purple or green, and they're like, ah! There's all these wonderful little repercussions that happen simply by opening that door and putting it someplace unexpected. That's what I was trying to say. Not that fighting in a barn that's on fire isn't exciting. I'm saying change it up a bit. Rather than make the barn on fire, don't make it a barn.
Yeah.
Make it into a underground brewery, or an above ground brewery, or make it into a candlery shop.
I tell you, there are a lot of problems if your fight spills into the blacksmithy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's
saw
some
that in-
exciting things in there.
Well, actually, let me finish this email.
Okay. That's
Gen-
all. That's what I was trying to say.
Generally, when I think of roof fights or roof activities in movies, the characters are not on the roof with the intent of fighting, rather as a means of escape.
Very true.
Yes.
And this is something that a GM and a player...
Unless somebody has to say that they have the high ground.
the high ground.
I'm going to need a beer for that. You got any more beer in there somewhere? Because I can't.
Jesus,
Here,
man,
you
Joseph.
can actually have the rest of.
Oh, you don't
if
want?
I
no,
can't.
No,
I
it's
just can't.
got store code.
Well, like anything's going to live through that.
Well, I don't
drink
know,
it,
man.
yeah,
I've seen you roll dice. Let's.
You got to limit exposure. He's right.
That's true.
You are next to me, though.
It took years for me to develop the resistance.
Yeah.
Like,
And in education,
Like iocane
knowing
powder.
how to avoid getting diseases in the...
Yeah, that's a big part of my job as a teacher is not
Not to
getting
get
sick
sick.
every day.
I can see why you sterilize everything with that.
Yeah, yeah. I just bring that to school. That's normal, right? That's dear principal and headmaster of my school. I do not bring alcohol to school. That is totally inappropriate and not.
Definitely
something I
don't look
ever do.
in his left bottom drawer of his desk.
that's what locking filing cabinets are for.
And you know the principal's like, yeah, I got a bottle of that too.
If you have a better one, maybe we should talk.
Right.
Let's-
Sorry, we've derailed your
Sorry.
reading once again.
This is something that, as a GM and player, I have struggled with in D&D and also GURPS, the idea of a chase. In a superhero game, in a spy game, in a fantasy setting, I have done many scenes where the players need to chase down a bad guy. But it is rare that I feel like it went off very successfully. Think of the opening scene of Skyfall. That's the parkour thing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
Like
going
the-
across the roof. And
The roofs of Istanbul.
like
or
motorcycle.
something
Oh
like
yeah. Oh, it's right here.
Yep.
James Bond on a motorcycle riding across the roofs of a shanty town. The basketball chase scene from Raiders of the Lost
that.
Ark.
Just basket,
Just
not
basket
basketball.
chase.
The
No,
basket chase.
It wasn't like Indy and the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh man! Oh, movie! That movie!
That's nuts. Somebody needs to make that.
Dun, dun, dun,
Let's do that.
dun, doo, 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 doo.
Da, 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 da. Oh man!
The foot chase scene in Bourne Ultimatum. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
The car chases in Bullet in Live and Die in L.A.
Living that.
How are you going to list car chases and not bring up Ronin, MCRJ?
Oh,
Like-
snap.
Man,
Oh,
De
yeah.
Niro
Ronin car
fan.
chase. Come
Well,
on.
because you skipped right over Ronan and went to the Road Warrior.
The Italian
No,
Job.
listen, Bullet is a quality car chase movie.
It
too.
is, but like Ronin. You can say Terminator and not Ronin.
And the original Italian Job,
I'm
mind
not-
you, not the remake.
Well, I mean, the remake had good car chase scenes.
Yeah, but the original had those little Fiats like jumping rooftops and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Right. And even the Terminator. I could go on for days.
clearly.
For an epic chase, I think it requires the ability to be quick, maintain pace, and manage to maintain a level of tension. Sometimes the mechanics can get in the way.
Or a lucky roll.
The one time I think I came close was in a futuristic spy game in a crowded subway. The players could not attack their prey, and there was plenty of sweaty die rolling. Ew. As we played
Moist dice.
as we played sponge dice.
That's not helping.
Yeah, stop using sponges as dice. That's
Stop using the adjective moist.
Right. Does it bother you?
Moist?
Yeah.
It's been banned from most newscasters. They can't say the word moist.
that
Why?
word doesn't bother me.
It's got double meanings.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, come over here and I'll talk to you about it.
Oh boy.
And we're off.
Good night, everybody.
Sometimes get in the way.
Sweaty die rolling.
Sweaty die roll. Sweaty die rolling. As we played mind games about getting on or off the subway cars, like the chase in this French Connection.
French Connection.
Thoughts about chases? I leave it to you, Mr. CJ or MRCJ or Merc. Here's an obligatory PS. Period.
One of my favorite chase scenes for movies is probably the very, and I always miss it, is the opening sequence of Matrix when Trinity's running on the rooftop.
That's a good.
Oh, yeah.
And it sums up everything he's saying. She's running on that rooftop. The agents are after her. She clearly is a badass and knows what she's doing. But the agents, it sets it up because now you know why the agents are such, so something to be feared.
And why everyone runs from them.
And why everyone runs from them, even Trinity. And she's running, and at one point she's behind a chimney, and they're coming around, and then there's that slow-mo run. She jumps through the window, and they can't. It's a classic great chase of somebody who's obviously being pursued and running from people that are over. She's outclassed, and she knows it.
Right.
How you translate that into an RPG is tricky because people make lucky rolls. Mechanics get in the way. Actually, you can't jump through that window without without falling damage, and simply people don't get the. A lot of players don't want to run. They don't get the fact that.
That's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part, and this is actually a legitimate cool scene. Is running away so that you can go and warn your fellows and come back, and regroup. People don't run very often.
Yeah. Convincing any group of PCs that flight is the best choice is difficult.
Yeah. I will say, though, one of the things I came across that I found really helpful, and don't flame me, chat room, but 4th edition D&D had this great mechanic called a skill challenge, which I had kind of used haphazardly before I knew what it was. And then to see it codified in the book, I was like, oh, this is a really good idea. And it's the one, if there's one good thing that came out of it, it's that. And then Tales from the Loop had something similar this week when we were trying to get away from Horrible Peter. It's this thing where, in the spirit of a skill challenge, it's you basically understand, you're going to get away or you're going to catch this guy, right? I don't want to throw all the characters in jail. That's boring. Or maybe that's going to extend the story in a very specific situation, but for the most part,
yes.
If you're watching a movie, you're not going to just throw everyone in jail and turn this into a legal drama. Right. It's an action movie. So the way the skill challenge works is, all of us take turns rolling, and we say, okay, well, I'm going to roll athletics, I'm going to roll stealth, I'm going to, you do the thing that you're good at, ostensibly helping your team do that thing. And you roll, and you have to get X number of successes before you get Y number of failures. And with that, you have you can build that tension real quickly. If you have to get 6 successes before 3 failures, and suddenly you've got 5 successes and 2 failures, and
the whole table's hanging on the dice roll.
Right. But it's important not to turn that into, if you get the 3 failures, that doesn't mean you get caught by the cops. It means you barely escaped and you took take a bunch of damage, and or you lost some equipment, or you got split up and you have to there should be some sort of interesting narrative point. Or if it is that outlier case where somebody should get caught, and that's interesting too. Because the person who's actually an undercover cop is getting arrested, and
that's oddly specific, though.
Well, it's just there's just narratively, if you succeed, you do you get away, or you get the thing, or you catch the person you're chasing after, and if you fail, you probably catch them, but you get hurt in the process, or they get away, and you get a little clue of how to proceed the story. The thing you don't want is to dead end your story, right? That's where people get in trouble. It's oh, you lost the guy. What do you want to do now? Oh man, let's just erase the last 3 hours of gameplay.
And you're also touching on an interesting point, which is a lot of it's in the GM's court too, because you're making these skill checks, and the GM says, "All right, you succeed. Make another one." I think it's a kind of a lost opportunity for the GM to say, all right, so you're hiding behind the chimney, and a bullet ricochets off, and you can see there's a window. I'm using the Trinity scene, obviously. There's a window, obviously. You could probably make it. It might take another skill challenge. It takes a lot of quick thinking on the GM's part, too, and maybe some more familiarity or experience to get comfortable with those skeletal challenges.
Sure.
But I think that those need to be narrated clearly by the GM as well, rather than just turning it into a mechanical roll-off.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Totally.
I also liked the Savage Worlds chase mechanic.
Absolutely.
You turn cards
Oh.
for, like, okay, here's all the people involved in the chase. Everybody gets a card. And then I'm going to get it wrong, but one of the suits means that some kind of problem befell that person. So, like, if you get a club, it's either club or spade. I don't remember which one. But if you get one of those, something weird happened. Something went wrong with your part of the chase. So, like, in the Rift game, we did that, and it was Sam playing a dragon is flying through the air, and she got the wrong thing, and I was like, a goose flies up from the trees in front of you because geese are assholes.
Yeah, they
like,
are.
And
Goose
so,
would take on a dragon for
Yeah, it
sure.
would.
yeah, and it was totally, like, it works out well, and it's good, and it's kind of a rules light thing that you're just kind of going through the cards and
Yeah.
allowing people to do that kind of a deal.
I mean, I don't know. When we played GURPS, like if it was a situation where like someone was like running across a roof, like it's a chase on a roof or something like that, people are going to be making dex checks, right? Every turn you're going to, especially it's slow.
It depends on the
severely
roofs,
slow.
yeah, but yes.
Everyone's going to be making dex checks to be able to move, right?
Sure.
And they can move their full turn, but someone's going to eventually miss, so your chase is going to get resolved one way or another. It's not going to, because a lot of times, I mean, if you don't have some sort of complicating factor, it's just usually math. It's my move is 6, this person's move is 7. They're going to catch me. It's going to take 8 turns.
Well, yeah. But I think that's what the writer, what Mr. CJ wants to get away from,
Yeah.
is that like mechanical grind,
Right.
which is awful.
It
and
is.
in that situation where everybody's on a slippery roof for some reason, I would suggest like the fighter is like, actually, I'm going to slide down and try to go around, and I'm going to use tactics. I'm going to roll my tactics things to try to cut off where I think he's going to come out, because I know I can't go running across the roof. And the wizard's like, okay, well, I'm going to cast like a spy eye or whatever. You know, I don't know
Right.
what game you're in, but like,
Or shingles to slime.
yeah, yeah.
to slime.
Ice
Super specific magic system.
There is a mechanical inevitability, especially with GURPS, but I'm not sure if that's kind of what you want to do. At some point, isn't the heroic escape or the heroic rooftop chase just cool?
Yeah.
And do you not want to?
And I mean,
I get it. There is always the possibility of sliding off the thing, and then the chase changes. You know?
And I have to say, as far as for player investment in hating the bad guys, nothing does it better than them finding the bad guys, getting ready to go after them, and them getting away fair and square.
Yeah.
With mechanics usually being
Right. As long as it doesn't, like you said,
Right.
stop the story.
Right. They got to leave behind some kind of clue, or
Right.
there's some kind of lead to follow up on. But then,
Or at least you recognize him and you know where the guy lives, or
Right,
you can
right.
look.
And that
for
works both
something.
ways. I mean,
Yeah.
Trinity can easily jump through that window and escape the agents through some lucky rolls and a good dex check.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think sometimes maybe it's okay to just have Trinity do it, dex check or not, because it might actually serve the story better. Chases are tricky things. Getting invested in them and allowing your players to know, because basically you're basically encouraging them to run away and fail,
Right.
and they have to trust you that they're not going to get punished for this. It's like when Trinity comes back and they're like, "You suck. You're out of the club. go back to what was it? Jerusalem,
Zion?
whatever,
Zion.
Zion.
Yeah,
Go back
yeah.
to Zion, and we'll
God.
never talk to you again because you ran away." I mean, that's what I think most players are afraid of.
yeah.
Most of them will always dig in their heels and fight. It's a complicated dance.
Yeah.
A good chase sequence.
I think this is also. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was also going to say sometimes humor helps too, because
Yeah.
it alleviates it. It's like, so you have a chase sequence and they actually go through like people are carrying a plate glass window across and they go through it.
Oh, sure.
Suddenly they're like, okay, so this can be fun. Oh, okay. It's a way to make your players feel okay about the fact that they are running for their lives and need to regroup. Because that's usually what happens
Yeah.
in a chase. Go ahead.
I think it's also an okay moment for the GM to like pull back the curtain a little bit and say, "These guys are super badass. You are not ready to fight them, and
Yeah.
you should run." you know, and then say, this is a skill challenge. You need 6 successes before 3 failures. Here's the target number. What skill do you want to roll to try to hit it? You know, and that's and just be totally upfront about what you're doing, and then you'll go right back into the drama. Like, it sounds like it's just gonna totally be a cold shower on this exciting moment, but it doesn't. It actually, like, everyone's engaged. They're like, oh man, the stress of like, okay, we got to get 6 before 3 fails, and there's only 4 of us. Like, oh my god, okay, let's get in it. And suddenly, even if you've got the one guy at the table who just wants to roll dice and doesn't really care about this, like, it actually hits a broad player set of like people who want to narrate. They're like jumping over apple boxes and tumble through the thing, and okay, well, roll your die. And the other guy's like, roll athletics. Boom. Okay. you know, but it keeps everything moving, and you don't have to make him describe something, or you don't have to, you know, relegate somebody to a boring thing they don't want to do. Like, I don't know.
You're the driver.
Yeah.
While everybody else is running on the rooftops, you have to go catch them. Yeah.
Right.
It's a delicate balance. I admire a good chase scene in any movie because we've seen so many of them, and we've seen a lot of them just be boring. And so, how do you translate to your RPG, right? How do you? Because that's really that's the ideal. How do you make that happen? And again, it can be double-edged sword. Maybe you want to do the chase scene from Bullet. Maybe you put everybody on the rails to get that chase scene from Bullet in your cars. Is that right? Is that a good way to go about it? I'm not sure. It maybe depends on the system, but I think that we all want to do that. We all see that. Why can't we do that? It's a legitimate problem.
Tyler's in the chat room. He said, I think I'd turn it around. Let the players narrate the chase. Anything they do to keep moving auto succeeds, but they need to narrate what they do to try to stop the pursuers. Then have the GM roll for the pursuers to avoid whatever the players throw at them.
That's a great idea.
It's not a bad
really
idea,
smart.
but it does take the narrative tension off of the players. Which is a balance, right? Like, it's a totally legitimate way to do that, but I've definitely had those great sweaty moments of like being down to 5 successes and 2 fails, or whatever the format is. Like,
and everybody's nervously rolling dice.
Yeah, and
you roll it this time.
Yeah, it gets down to the last person, and that person's like, no, my roll's not that good enough. I'm going to pass. You roll it for me, and you know, like, or I'm going to roll help, and then you get it, you know, and like, you know. It actually has engendered like actual assisting each other, like players helping each other.
What? What?
I know. So yeah, I mean, those are both good ways to do it.
There is no hard and fast rule. Sometimes it depends on the type of game you're running. You know, if it's sort of a gritty street game and you want to play Bullet and you've got cars. If you're a cyberpunk game and you're running through rainy alleys in a subterranean cyberpunk world, that's a different kind of chase. Rooftops in your medieval game, or even horseback, you know, chasing through the forest. There's a lot of different rules and a lot of different flavors, a lot of different things you can do. And I think that it's the goalposts move. There aren't any exact rules for a good chase sequence.
Yeah.
The thing I really like from his email is a chase where they're not able to just start taking pot shots because there's a bunch of innocents. Like, that's awesome. Like, anytime you can make players not be murder hobos is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
if you can come up with a way that they just don't like.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's a chase scene through the court of the Sultan. Or whatever, like, you can't just be running through there with swords open and slicing people out of your way. Like, that's just not a thing.
Well, not with that attitude.
He's killed the bridesmaids. Sorry, everybody. Sorry for the wedding. Sorry to ruin the wedding party.
I just wanted to mention, Jen Human just resubscribed. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's also his birthday today, so happy birthday. Can you guys sing? You guys sing?
Not
I can
anybody
fake it.
wants me to.
It was actually my mom's birthday this day as well. So, Jen Human, Groundhog's Day is a good birthday. Nobody will ever forget it.
And you get to keep having it over and over again.
Over and over
Only
again.
for Bill Murray.
Well, if you're Bill Murray, you're awesome. So
I guess somewhere there's a TV channel that's just playing Groundhog's Day all day right now.
in the UK, yeah,
So awesome.
That's
or
it's
is
so
it
meta.
or is it the same time?
Oh,
It's one
right,
playthrough.
Right, it's so meta. Leave it to the
I saw the TV guide listing for it, and everyone says Groundhog Day. See 8 p.m. for description. Groundhog Day. See 8 p.m. for description. And then at 8 p.m. it actually gives the little blurb about the movie, and then the rest of the day is just see 8 p.m.
That's genius.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Thank you very much.
Are we singing?
We want to sing.
Fine.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Genuine.
I forgot.
Happy birthday to you. I was harmonizing. That's why.
I know. But I was following
the
you.
melody, then it would have been fine.
I was
following you, and then I was like, yeah. What do you want? I don't get paid to sing like some people.
We're getting paid?
A little bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Boy,
Any amount is more than I get paid.
No one buys CDs anymore.
I was,
Why are we still printing CDs?
I was harmonizing with the what is it? Tuvian throat singer. That's where I was going. So if you guys weren't with me, that's not my fault.
I'm really more of a didgeridoo than a Tubian.
I bought a CD of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Are you happy with your
Creepy
purchase?
weird, huh?
It's
delighted.
a good conversation starter.
Yeah.
But you can't really listen to much of it.
Yeah.
No, it sounds
Because it's like 12 tracks of the same.
I listened to it and it sounded like my wife yelling at me.
But slowed down.
Yes.
Are RPG dice illegal in California?
No.
From Gottfried.
What?
You wanna?
I'll read this one because I did some research on the topic after I saw this email. So, unless somebody with a German accent wants to do it.
You must use the Dr. Story.
Yeah, I can't do it. So
All
I'm
right,
not an
go
accent
ahead.
guy.
No, it's all right.
You do it. Just do it. You do the
I'm
reading.
German, so wild with the accent if you read this one on the show. Wie geht's? Just found this link on Reddit, as the douchebags are the only California gamers I know. I thought I'd bring this to your attention. Well, I know more, but I have been listening to you since season 1. I heard enough embarrassing details to blackmail half a dozen normal people.
You're immune.
For some reason, neither my wife nor my son understood so great about listening to some guys drink beer while going on tangents about role-playing games, but I find it very meditative. Anyway, according to this link, it is illegal to possess any dice more than 6 faces in California. Was I listening to some sort of criminal broadcast while listening to you guys? Do the police often bust D&D sessions? Is D&D the starter drug? And later on, I'm getting French all of a sudden.
Yeah, you better go back
That's what
to
happens to me.
It's hard to understand you now. You better go back to
We
English.
need
All right.
subtitles.
Stork does a really good European Union accent.
Right.
Yeah.
Was I listening to some sort of criminal broadcast while listening to you guys? Does the police often bust in on D&D sessions? Is D&D the starter drug? And later on, you get to harder stuff like GURPS, or Savage Worlds, or World of Darkness? I guess an analogy traveler would be something like peyote, while powered by the apocalypse would be akin to bath
Oh,
salts.
now.
Damn, I'm finally running in to only make stupid jokes about laws and drugs and
I
rules.
feel attacked.
Well, yeah, I have to say, damn, now I'm writing in to only make stupid jokes about laws, drugs, and rules. You are German.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheers.
Anyway,
Juice.
love the show. Gottfried, say Gottfried, which means free God, by the way. God is free. God, free.
What, was he in prison?
Yeah.
Well,
God
you
out.
know,
He is German.
he went on a walkabout to find himself, got in a little bit of trouble, but now he's out. Everything's fine.
It happens.
Okay.
Well, just completely by accident, I'm drinking something from your home country,
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Hogarden.
Hogarden!
What do they grow there?
Thank
you. Jeez, that took a long time to get to.
Listen, I was trying to come up with something better.
They don't
than the
hang on
obvious.
nails on the garage, though.
I lose.
Huge manatee.
Huge manatee.
So I did look this up, and it is actually a California statute that possessing dice with more than 6 faces is against the law in the state of
Well,
California.
I only own them. I don't possess them. So
And none of my guys have faces. They just have pips.
But the interesting part is it's all about gambling,
Yeah.
right? But the way the law was written, it does not preclude any other use of the dice. It's not like Stu earlier mentioned. Well, I wonder if it has to do with if you're using those dice and there's money on the table.
Right.
Then does that become no? It's just if you own dice with more than 6 sides,
But aren't
Straight against the law.
6-sided dice are the ones you gamble with.
Right.
Right?
Like, how many times have you gone to play
D12s?
craps with D20s?
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
I mean, I would play. That
It'd
sounds
be interesting.
awesome.
It
Yeah.
really messes up the math.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is very interesting.
It just becomes roulette at that point.
Right.
But because of looking up laws about dice and stuff, I fell into the rabbit hole of prison role players.
Oh dear.
Okay, awesome.
And it's a big
wait,
thing.
You're talking about like the
Yeah.
tied up thing with the I've been a bad boy.
I'd like
No.
to say, I've never been to that website.
That's
despite,
dungeon roleplayer.
Dungeons and Dungeons,
right.
as it were.
It's Dungeons and Good Times. That's what that's called.
Dungeons and happy end.
Dungeons and Done Again.
Dungeons and Dragoons.
There you go. There's a joke in here somewhere.
Yeah,
We'll keep
we're
working on it.
we're
keep
digging
finding
for
it.
it. We'll just keep beating that horse.
So as a non sequitur, I've been instructed to say boogers.
Oh, all right.
Are you what? Don't watch the chat room.
I did not. I received a direct message about this topic.
From Tyler.
Lord.
No. From a secret source
You get
that
paid
has
to
my
say
actual phone number. If I get paid to say it, I'll say it all the time.
that? Yeah.
Listen, by the end of this cast, I will say boogers 50 times if you
Oh
give me
God, that's
a
the
quarter.
only word coming out of his mouth.
Uh,
The
Oh,
Smurfs.
apparently-
Just
The beer is pronounced Hugh Garden.
whatever. It
just
says
saying.
ho on
We
there.
don't have the umlaut. There's no umlaut on it. I don't know if you can
I
see.
tell
There's
you
no
what,
umlaut.
that's HOE. That spells hoe. I don't know how you spell it, but I'll tell you what.
And two A's together give you the lend to the southern accent of
but-
garden.
It's
Or maybe it's like a-
Garden. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's like a Massachusetts thing.
Yeah. A very flat A.
Go get the hoe in the garden.
Right.
Yeah. Oh
Pack
boy.
the car in the garage.
But because of this, like in prison, there are a lot of people that do play RPGs, mainly D&D, but apparently also Pathfinder is popular because
Because you're in prison.
Well, no,
and
because-
anything's,
Yeah, my
as happy
understanding
in prison.
my understanding is they have a lot of downtime.
but some
Even Pathfinder is better than prison.
some
Is it?
wow
Even organized play.
Right?
some states
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
some states have made it against prison rules to have RPGs. Other states accept RPGs. Other states have made it illegal to have RPG paraphernalia, like dice. So there's a whole culture of prison-made dice and spinning mechanics. That like
Spinning?
yeah like
spinners.
so
A
a guy
wheel, like a
a guy
spinning wheel.
designed
Oh, it's a randomizer.
a circle
got it.
that has basically each of the die types.
For
so
some
a
reason, I just saw a bunch
four-sider
of people in,
and
the,
then
in,
a
the,
six.
in the workout yard just... Whee!
Right.
All right, I'm with you.
But like this dude designed a piece of paper and he draws a circle with 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then
I've seen a picture of that. I didn't realize what it was for.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems like a really awkward way to roll dice. But
Right.
if you're in prison, then
and
Yeah.
so-
randomizer.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I
they
got it.
spin paper clips on it to try and see what happens.
Ah.
Okay.
Other dude I read about, he takes toilet paper and gets it damp and then shoves it into the corner of the window frame in his
I'm really glad you said window.
Me
frame.
too. I thought this was going to go bad.
Yeah.
in the corner of the window frame to make a D6. So like he
yeah,
smashes
okay.
it in there and then as it dries it becomes a little
Yeah.
cube
Yep.
that he can then roll.
And then just write on it because it's paper.
Right.
Oh,
And no one's going to try to smuggle a D4 in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's going to hurt.
Right.
That's just not
It's
a thing.
Also caltrops. So
They're worse than Legos.
But yeah,
trust me.
I became fascinated by it. And some places they play Pathfinder because the guards know what D&D is and they know that it's against the rules, but they don't realize Pathfinder is also an RPG.
it's just D&D 3.7.
but
Oops, I
like-
shouldn't have said that.
But
a lot of prison guards watch our show.
Yeah. Very popular in the prison guard community.
yeah, we gave it away. Sorry.
Look, just let your prisoners play D&D, guys. I mean,
Like it's way better than drugs and murder.
yeah. Maybe 100 times better.
You only pretend to murder people and be on drugs in D&D.
The thing that also cracked me up about it was the interview with this one guy who runs games for a table of dudes. He said it's really interesting that in the rec room, all of the big gangs have a table, and then we have a D&D table. So there's like the Aryan Brotherhood
Right.
and all these other
Right.
gangs. They all have their space, but they're like, all right, cool, man, you guys are doing your thing, keep it yourself. All right.
Yep.
But he also has said that there's only one type of scenario they don't ever run, and that is
A prison break.
a getting arrested or put in jail or a cell or prison.
Skip it.
That's
Skip
just
it.
not a thing.
We don't need to play pretend for that. So
Well, and he said that it's really awkward to try and prep like a map for a prison break. Like
Yeah.
it gets to be a problem.
Right.
So,
Yeah. You get rousted in the cell, and they're like, "Was ist this?"
yeah, I found it fascinating.
oh boy.
So yeah, apparently we're outlaws.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's
I'm
hundreds
Yeah.
of
I
laws.
want to start a program to just like send polyhedral dice to prisons
Yeah.
because apparently there's
Well, then most I think
a lot of places
this
it's,
came up a long time ago,
Yeah.
and very few prisons allow the possession of dice because they get used in gambling,
sure.
Yeah.
which is why they end up using spinners. Why you couldn't use a spinner for gambling?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference?
And what are you going to do with a 20-sided? They're going to just throw them at you.
No, although the spinner is easy to hide and will roll silently.
That's true.
So
yeah.
You seem to know a lot about this.
I just thought it through right now.
I'm a historian. I'm sticking to
I'm
it.
a devious person at heart, and the advantages become immediately clear to me.
Well played.
All right. Help from Isaac and Tejas.
I can read this.
Go.
I can read English. So.
Well, it's Texas.
Oh, right. Greetings, douchebags. Isaac from Texas here with a bit of a conundrum. Last time I wrote in, I was asking for help with my L5R-inspired D&D game that I'm running. Well, I'll be back for seconds like a starving college student at an all-you-can-eat buffet because holy crap did things go sideways. Let me first preface with the following. We, 2 players and me, the DM, have been playing every other week for about 3 months now. I switch off running a campaign with another DM, so everyone gets to play every other week.
That's awesome.
Other DM is running a 5e module, and I'm running an original adventure.
Nice.
The party consists of a couple cops, 1 fighter, and 1 mage, and the 2 of them have been CSIing their way across the land.
All right, that needs to be a verb, by the way.
Yep.
CSIing, that really is awesome. And kudos to
So-
your actual
And now it
group
is.
CSIing.
So are the players actually?
Yeah, so
police-
these 2 cops, one is playing a fighter and one is playing a mage.
Right.
That's, yeah.
So every time you like try to come up with a whodunit, it's like, yeah, you guys figured it out again.
Yeah, good job.
No, that's awesome, though. I give kudos to the fact that there's an actual group that instead of just like, we kill them and move on,
Yeah.
Right.
or like, so,
Solving crime.
and they're doing and that is why
Yeah, you
we.
got to take the glasses
Right.
off. That's how you
That
do
is
it.
why.
Yeah.
Sir, is that your sword? Oh, it's your cousin's sword.
Right.
I see.
I see.
It's the same initials as me. That's why that's on there.
I'd be fascinated to watch like a Law and Order game. It actually has like the
I would
cop
not.
part
Well,
of like tracking down and arresting a guy, but then it has the courtroom drama part
oh, that sounds awful.
of like people having to do like perform checks.
You know
This
what,
is-
though?
give their opening
You'd say
statement.
that, and yet every time Perry Mason comes on, riveted.
Oh, that's not my kind of show. Well, anyway, they're headed for a monk's temple on top of a mountain because story reasons. Well, last week,
The best reasons.
I received the most horrifying of news. The sort of thing that any DM hates to hear after building up story, character hooks, and building an entire story arc off of pre-existing characters. The players done told me they hated the characters they were playing and wanted to do something different.
Okay, well, hold on. You have the best group ever.
Yeah,
They're actually talking to you, and they're telling you this stuff. How many times are you just like, I don't know why my players all committed mass suicide. I thought the game was great.
Yeah.
But no, they're actually saying to you ahead of time, none of us are liking this.
Yeah.
Can we do something different?
And-
That's cool.
And I gotta say too, like lots of times new players or players who are new to a system, they roll up a character like, sure, I'll figure it out and play, and they play through and they're like, oh man, I'm really not loving this class.
Or, wow,
and
did I make
and
it
it's
the
like
wrong
the first
character.
class they read, and they've been looking through the book, they see this other class, like, oh, look at this class is, oh, I want to play one of these.
Right. Once they
and-
grok the system, they're like,
Right.
can I?
I would say
Can I change my order?
I would say read the entire character creation section first, and then if that's the one you want to play, then you go ahead and make it. But what you don't want is them to make a new character and then 2
Well,
weeks later go,
yeah.
oh look,
Yeah.
there's rogues.
Yeah. If you get to this point where they're burnt out on their character and they want to try something new, they have something in mind, then yeah, you sit down and you go, okay, so here are all the options. Here's kind of the tropes this plays into.
It does kind of read like a coup, though. It's like
Yeah.
they all sat down one day and went, we have something we'd
Well,
like
like
to
all
discuss with
three
you."
of them. I mean,
Right.
it's a small group. Thank
We have
God.
something we'd like to discuss with you.
But I mean, I'll tell you, I've had lots of new players come to a group and say, look, don't stress out, roll up a character. If there's something you don't like, if you want to swap feats around, if you want to change something 2 sessions in, great.
Right.
6 sessions in, maybe let's not, or, you know, but like, yeah, change up some stuff, you know. And I know it's a bummer you got all these like character hooks set up, but like they could probably morph a little bit, you know, or well, anyway.
Better have a table full of people that are having a good time.
Yes, that.
Yes.
One long trip to the soda fountain to regain my thoughts later, I came back and pulled out of my ass what could have been the best or craziest idea I'd ever had. The group was heading into a cave in a mountain that, unknown to them, held bad dimension-altering stuff in it. I told them that after a part in the next sessions, I would allow them to totally rebuild the characters in a way they found more fun for them. Which is 2 thumbs up. I mean, that's exactly the way to go. And kudos to you for coming up with this idea and having like a smooth way to work it in.
Totally. That's exactly what I was going to say. Not only so your characters voice your players voice their complaints. You actually, instead of just table flipping and storming out, said okay and came up with an elegant solution. Yeah, Jason summed it up. I don't know why I'm talking about it anymore. Carry on.
Because we're both right, and it feels good.
It does.
The other night we ran the session, they fell into the new characters with ease and seemed to be enjoying the game a lot more. I ended the session with the team reaching to the top of the mountain, fighting a 3-story tall stone giant with a warglaive. Now, were they fighting a giant with a warglaive, or were they fighting the giant with a warglaive?
Yeah.
Right.
And being allowed into the temple. Happy Jacks, did I fuck up? Fuck no.
No.
You did it exactly right.
I think so.
Should I have just called it there, let the world die, and go about making another?
No.
Should I have stuck that to characters they already? No.
No.
And how the hell am I supposed to come up with new motivation for new characters? That's their job, man.
Yeah.
Right.
It sounds like you have a bunch of motivated players that really want to do stuff. They're going to give you all kinds of nuggets that you can just hold on to. Don't worry about that.
And Tyler had suggested, would they change their class? Can they keep their backstory? Or can they just modify their backstory? Or
Yeah,
Well,
that's always an option.
That's actually true because they go through and they change their whole power set, but their backstories are probably the same. They're not different people. They're just
I was born a baby fighter. Instead of that, I was born a baby mage.
right.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And even if they did change their backstories and stuff, you still got all that prep and stuff into their backstory and hooks and stuff. You said they went into a cave with weird dimension-altering stuff. Use all that stuff still in a way that they don't expect.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, throw it back, like, oh, well, remember how your old character hated snakes?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I don't have a good fleshing
Yeah, don't
out
be a
of that.
dick about it, but yeah, it works both ways, right?
Yeah.
But,
And-
like, you can totally still use those things, even if you come back as a surprise to that character.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they just remade their character or if they tried to make a whole new character, but use all that backstory stuff still. Like, throw it back into the story in a cool way, and you still got...
Yeah, like I don't know
there.
if this applies to what happened in your situation, but I literally had something similar to this where we were playing some kind of superhero thing, and somebody had made a like kind of a bruiser character. They were coming into a group that already existed, and I said, well, we kind of have a bruiser, and they're like, well, I got this idea for a character, so I want to roll with it. I was like, okay, cool. Couple sessions in, they're like, oh yeah, we got too many bruisers. But I have this idea for this like flying laser beams guy, right? Like,
freaking laser beams.
awesome. Shoots lasers out of his eyes. That's cool. And we came to the next game. We're like, hey everybody, remember how so and so flies and shoots lasers out of their eyes? And everyone was like, yeah, that's really cool. And like, there we go. Roll forward.
Sure.
Retcon. That's what happened. And same backstory. It worked in this case to have the same backstory and just say instead of getting super strong, he got lasers out of his eyes. And
The converse of this is, if you as a GM you need that structure, if that's what it takes for you to world build, consider the butterfly effect, which is they've all changed. You can modify your story to fit all of this easily, and you can excuse it with the butterfly effect, which is, what is it? The butterfly.
And the baby strangles itself with its mother's
all
umbilical
of that.
cord, right?
Yeah, go look it up.
Spoilers, sorry.
okay, so there's a point on here that's
Wow.
worth noting.
Okay.
That
Ships that movie? No.
I've had months before to work on what mattered to the old characters, but now I'm at a loss. A lot of what I had planned won't work because of new backstory, personality, and a whole list of other things.
Oh, he's already done that.
Now, I mean, first of all, kudos for shaping the story around your characters. That
Yes.
is
Yep.
your player characters. I mean, like that is the point. Like you don't your players don't want to play in a world where you have this kick-ass awesome NPC and you're just telling a story about that NPC and they get to go along for the ride. You're doing it right. You just also have to accommodate this thing that your players needed to do. And like,
I wonder if the players changed their personalities and backstory because they didn't want to be burdened with the GM's plot.
I was kind of wondering about that myself.
that never occurred to me.
Yeah.
There are people who are like kind of poopy about. He's like digging into our backstory. I don't know.
Ew, that's awkward.
Well,
that was just so I
Who
get
knows?
points.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, let's assume not. Let's
Yeah.
assume not.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would also think like I don't know. I love it when a DM digs into my backstory and was like, oh my god, you actually know what that 4 pages that I wrote? Like,
Right?
jeez.
You actually read it?
Yeah.
You care.
No, it's just a complete coincidence. I did not read your 4-page backstory. Lokio said, "Prep is still prep, even if it's not personal anymore."
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if you came up with a storyline and it's a cool storyline, maybe you can just kind of tweak it so that it becomes personal again, or maybe it's like
Always reuse it. Always repurpose. You can always find a way to make it work.
Or have it like Mount Everest. They climbed up to the top of this mountain. They're now on the way down, and they find this desiccated corpse of their previous character.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
With
yeah.
like the little journal that was all the stuff that they'd been researching.
yeah.
Like they're just dead on a mountain somewhere,
Oh, I
and now
love
they're
that.
like, "Why? What is this about?"
I love that. So, is it better to let the old die in flames and simply start over? Have you ever had something like this happen before? How did you handle it? Asked and answered. P.S. I thought about letting them roll new characters altogether, but the amount of in-game stuff that the players knew was too great at that point, and I would have had to write a totally new story, and that seemed an even bigger mountain to climb. Hence why I didn't offer that as an option originally. P.P.S. Drink.
Oh,
I think it's an elegant solution. What you basically come up with is a reboot of your game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay for you to use the stuff that you had. It's kind of like a Matrix thing, things can change, or not Matrix. What's the other one? Dark World,
Dark City.
Dark City, where things
Shut
will
it
change
down.
when people
Shut
go
it
to
all
sleep.
down forever.
Right, but it's really still the same. The names change, the blocks change, the buildings change, but the overall story is still kind of the same. Use that as kind of an impetus, which is, so you guys may have changed, but the villains retain the name. The song retains the name.
Nice. Deep cuts.
Okay.
Right? Deep cuts, right? Little Led Zeppelin reference?
Yeah.
right. But speaking of deep cuts, I got Scary Monsters.
The cartoon?
No, David Bowie.
Oh, David Bowie.
Oh,
What a great album.
Trippy stuff.
Yeah, it's trippy.
I don't know if I've ever listened to that one straight through.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love that album. It's one of my favorites.
He's love or hate David Bowie. He was an important guy, and he was always reinventing himself and always pushing boundaries and pushing stuff.
In a time when people weren't pushing boundaries.
Well, you always have Frank Zappa too, but he was so much more cynical.
Yeah.
But I always love or hate David Bowie, and some albums are better than others. You need people like that out there that are always pushing those boundaries and making you go, oh, I hate it. Well, why do you hate it? I hate it for these reasons, and that's just as valid as I love it. And I love it for these reasons. It makes people think about stuff and question art.
Ashes to ashes, funk to funky.
That was his whole Harlequin phase, right? He was doing this sort of
It reminded me of the cover of the Le Chute by Albert Camus.
Well, I was always thinking it's very Cirque du Soleil.
I had to read that in college. What class was that in? I don't remember what class it was in.
Clown
how to
college.
read pretentious bullshit.
Yeah. But it had a cover, and I'm like, that cover looks a lot like the Ashes to Ashes video.
That's fucking Camus.
It's good for me because I was
Biting on Bowie.
a literature major, so that
Actually, knowing Bowie, he probably
feels
read
real.
Did you ever read Sartre?
Yeah.
I read Sartre.
We all had.
I read one thing by Sartre because I had a journalism as literature class, and the professor said, "I'm going to have you guys read the obituary for Albert Camus, and it was written by Jean-Paul Sartre. So if you ever go to a cocktail party and someone asks if you've read Sartre, you can say, of course I've read Sartre.
I usually just quote the Monty Python skit. Oh, mad.
Thank you very much there for the email, and from Isaac from Texas.
Yeah. I think
you're on the right track, man.
made the best of an awkward situation and
Yep.
you nailed it.
Listen, I like your players too. I think that they all got together and said, we've reevaluated our situation, and that's
take
cool.
appreciation in that.
Yeah.
Totally cool.
Yeah, the fact that they're willing to actually talk about it and not just sit there and be pissed off and
or just like avoid the game. Oh,
Yeah.
I got something. I got to stay home and
Oh,
floss the cat.
sorry.
Whatever it is. And you're like, is something wrong with my game? And now you have to question. They actually came out and they came up with a solution. And it's awesome.
Well, obviously they're having fun.
Yes, clearly.
yeah.
They just weren't having fun with those characters because they want to keep playing. If they didn't want to keep playing, they would have.
Yeah.
They tried to fix it, which is awesome.
They did.
Gaming horror story from Allervant. Does anyone not? Oh, go.
Hey, Jackers, Slackers, and Patreon backers.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
that's a song.
Yeah.
I have a gamer horror story from VernCon 2017. It's a Chicagoland gaming con, so like people bust in with violin cases.
It's just they're shooting four-sided dice out of it.
Oh, that's worse than bullets.
No.
They sting.
And imagine the size of the cartridge you have to use for a D4.
Johnny Dangerously, when they open up the package, he's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to VernCon once. All right, sorry.
You know your last name's an adverb.
Yes. That's the last first convention of the year, as it's often run over New Year's Eve.
Really? There's a game con that runs over New Year's Eve? That's fantastic.
I love that idea. The
I do
last
too.
first.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Since you're in SoCal, you might not be aware of how cold it can get in Chicagoland that time of year. Yeah, we're aware.
I love that it's Chicagoland, like an amusement park.
I mean, it basically is.
Yeah.
But
We're aware that there's
the
snow.
places are cold
Yes.
and places we don't want to live.
Right.
This description's great, though.
Yeah. This goes beyond the should probably wear long pants weather that we consider cold. You're right. Here it gets so cold that ice, that stuff that McDonald's puts in drinks to save money, can form outside.
Outside with its capitals.
I'm loving this.
Yeah. In fact, that's exactly what was happening outside the hotel the first night of the con. The rain was actually freezing on the sidewalk. See, that's the worst weather.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right?
freezing rain.
Yes.
Freezing rain is
thumbs
the
down.
shittiest weather because you still get fucking soaked and you're cold as shit.
Yeah.
And you're going to...
And everything's slippery and horrible.
Yeah.
And everything dies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the signs of the apocalypse. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Freezing rain.
Normally, the hotel would fix this by tossing salt around to melt the ice, but tonight, salt was not enough to keep the sidewalk safe for people. Thus, the first part of my horror story. An unfortunate spill right outside the hotel doors. Nothing was broken, but my gaming bag, and the new thermos I got from my employer's gift exchange
man.
got scuffed and scratched.
I like a nice thermos.
It's a good thing you landed on your gaming bag because you probably could have broken your head open otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that it saved you from actual.
Hopefully, you had a
surgery.
lot of soft, like PBTA stuff in there. It was all
dare
soft cover.
dare
No,
you.
soft cover.
How dare you?
Right.
Because how many PBTA games have you seen that come in a hardcover?
Zero hardcover.
That's what
PBTA
I'm
game.
saying. I wasn't making an assumption about the content of
I
said
know.
game.
They have to keep
My
it
God.
safe for the PGA
I like to
players
be-
so they don't hurt themselves.
I like to be inappropriately outraged over nothing.
Oh, sure. That's fair. That's fair. I'll be prepared now. The only slot of that evening was from 7 to 11 p.m., and I decided to try a new system still in its alpha stage. There were 2 other players and the GM. Since I was feeling stiff from the fall and another player was fighting a cold, see, that other player is the devil.
They should not
It's
have come.
Chicagoland, though. Everybody's sick because it's fucking freezing.
Maybe if you put that guy way over on the other side of the table and he's got his own
Yeah,
dice.
but
and,
man,
well,
Yeah,
anyway.
but see, that's a California thing. People in Chicago are like, it's just a cold. It's fine. It's not the flu. Go ahead. You're fine.
Yeah.
We're tough here.
really?
Yeah.
I've lived in other parts of the country, and I haven't experienced people that are just like, meh, you're sick, but I'll sit next to you. Like, that's not a thing. Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. All of us agreed we'd try to end the game early so we could get some extra rest.
There's
Fair.
also the fact
Perfectly
that
sensible.
you're just a player at the table. You can't actually say, have him leave.
Yeah,
So
that's
sometimes
not,
you're
that's
like,
not going to work out.
No. I'm not saying that, like, what are you going to do about it if that happens?
But that player probably shouldn't have come.
But yeah, to be courteous, at least they should have done the mask
Yeah.
kind of a deal. Maybe
Yeah.
they did. It doesn't say that they
Yeah.
didn't.
That's social
No,
mores
it
and
can't.
graces.
Now, that level of weather, it can't be allergies, right? It's
No.
definitely a cold.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, there could still be mold in the hotel.
Yeah, or your friend's cat,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Allergic to snow. Yeah, it happens. My nose runs every time it gets cold.
Maybe
It's true.
maybe they're allergic to Axe body spray.
At a game con?
Right?
I've never smelled Axe body spray at a game con.
I've never smelled deodorant at a game con.
But
I have Axe
I mean, I've
brand
smelled my deodorant.
I use Axe brand deodorant at game cons because it's a game con. You got to use something strong.
sure.
But it doesn't smell like body spray.
See, I prefer the Great Sword body spray.
I'm totally opening up like a little booth right now, which is Axe body spray. With my axe, I shall slay.
Conquer your stank.
And I
with my
guarantee
axe.
you put Gimli on the front of that, and people are gonna sell out.
Oh,
Axe
sure.
body
And
spray.
just put a sticky label over like a can of Lysol.
right, with just Viking,
Lysol.
like a Viking sticker
Oh,
with
birds,
Axe body
why?
spray. It'll go.
I would imagine Axe body spray probably also burns.
So I brought
that's
that
how
up.
you know it's
Cleanly
rookie.
shaved, if your pits are shaved, I bet that burns
I
like
brought that
Yeah.
up specifically because
That's why I
when-
don't shave my pits.
When Axe
I
body
don't want to know
spray,
you know that. Go ahead.
so when Axe body spray first came out, the ads were funny.
Yeah.
So
They
I
were
was
good ads.
walking down an aisle and I needed some deodorant materials, and I bought some. And I got home and I took a shower that night and I sprayed some on after my shower. And I laid down in bed and I'm reading for a little while. And then I noticed, like, oh, God, it's super hot. What is going on in here? Like, did our air conditioner
You
break?
have
What
an
the
allergic
fuck?
reaction?
Yes.
Jesus.
The first allergic reaction I'd ever had in my life to anything. I stand up, I look at myself in the mirrored closet door in
it's
our
made
bedroom,
from shellfish.
and like my whole upper chest was puffy and red.
Oh, holy shit!
And I was like, "What is going on?"
Well, wasn't that just because you had done your 300 push-ups before bed?
Yeah,
Clearly.
yeah.
I mean, look at the man. Yeah.
I do push-ups with my gut.
Rounds of shape. He's in shape.
Yeah. I lay down flat on the ground and then I just go. It lifts the rest of me up.
I thought you were going to tell me you used Axe body spray, and the next morning you came out and there's like a shocker sticker on your car or
jeez.
something. That's a total douchebag.
Yeah.
Yes, that is definitely.
It's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
But
see those all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I do.
I've never
Not
seen
all
a
the time.
sticker. I've never seen it.
Usually it's on little tweaked out Hondas.
Yeah, hot hatchbacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now look, I like hatchbacks.
I'm talking about they're dumped to the ground. They got that bing, a little.
Yeah. Subaru hatchback here, so that's
No, that's
Maybe like a WRX.
ideally. Not right now. That was my first Subaru.
It's the starter Subaru.
All right. Anyway, sorry. Back to email. At first, the adventure went fine. We spent less than an hour making our characters. Man, in a
I got
4-hour game
I gotta
slot.
tell you, I read this already, and it's like I have dread for the end of this paragraph.
Okay, I'll get through it and find out what the dread's about. I'm excited now.
You're foreshadowing.
The game system was simple and straightforward. The stats and skills were intentionally limited and broad in scope to make for faster play. In the adventure, we were trying to stop the resurrection of the Mantis Queen.
That seems like a good idea. Stop that for sure.
Yeah. Because, too many paddle boats and you got problems.
Yep. Carry on, Kadave.
I thought you were going to go with a whole Freddie Mercury reference, but that's fine. That works.
Oh,
too.
yeah, all right.
Even better. If you can't continue, a replacement shall be found for you.
Dave. That's right. I know. That's what I was thinking. It was like, oh,
The vision of a brave mantis on stage, holding up the microphone.
With a Freddie Mercury face.
exactly.
Someone can Photoshop that and put that on the forum.
I'm into it. I'm not going to look at that
And then
Photoshop, but
the
that's...
articulated mantis mouth singing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then someone with an admin could go into Dave's forum account and make that
Make that my
his
thing.
icon.
Dude, Freddie Mercury the Mantis wouldn't be all right with me. That's
Oh,
completely
man.
okay.
The myth, the mantis, the legend.
God, it's so good.
Go ahead.
Almost as good as the spoken word William Shatner Bohemian Rhapsody. Look it up on YouTube.
Oh, you don't
Oh,
have to.
speaking of great YouTube videos,
Oh, yeah.
hold on.
Oh, can we do this here? Are you going to do it? Are you going to bring it up? All
I'll bring it up.
All right.
That 9 naked men
Oh,
just
yeah,
walking
okay.
down the road would cause a heap of trouble for all
It's
concerned.
called A Heap of Trouble.
That's awesome. I won't say with the. We won't talk about any reenactments
Context.
of it.
I'll say I wish I could get 3.5 minutes of my life back.
You didn't think it was funny?
It was something.
It was. And it's a catchy
love
tune.
It was a thing.
There
were 9 things.
It was hard.
Yes, there is some full frontal
point
nudity.
out.
I was going to say it was hard to find, but it was difficult to find.
Yeah, because it wasn't hard.
It
For a
was
long
hard.
time.
They probably had to stop shooting if there was anything.
It was
hard.
gone. So, but
It's
it's
a
back
line,
again.
sure.
So if you please do not do this at work, or when your wife is around,
Or
or
at
your
school.
kids are around,
Or
or
at
at
school.
school. In fact, just don't do it.
Don't watch it.
Yeah,
Oh no, you should watch it.
called A Heap of Trouble.
Yeah, but officially don't watch it.
Oh yeah, well YouTube I guess has the censored version. What did you? Was it on Vimeo?
Yeah, this is Vimeo.
Yeah, go to Vimeo and,
Yeah,
and
thanks
look
for that, Vimeo.
and look up A Heap of Trouble or 9 Naked Men. Either
Provide
one
a
will.
service.
Yes, it's
It won awards at like the Canadian Film
Yeah.
Festival and stuff. So you
Yeah,
know,
I get
it
it.
should win awards.
was-
despite how uncomfortable it made
It
me
was
feel,
well made.
it
I
was-
wasn't uncomfortable. I just want 3.5 minutes back.
really.
Yeah.
You
I
watched
just-
2.5 Men and you were fine with that, but
I'm very precise with my tongue.
Because it's weird because it's like 4 minutes long, so there's 30 seconds of it that you really
Yeah,
like.
I was enjoying that. Yeah,
he's not going to qualify which ones.
I am
those
not
were.
going to.
I really enjoyed the ice cream truck purveyor.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Like that's the
hysterical.
part that
He tries to climb
Oh,
inside.
and the dad trying to fight his way out of the house
Right.
was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
funny. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there were.
I think Stu actually summed it up for me, because I was like, oh, this is really amusing. And Stu's like, my favorite part is he goes, oh no, not
again.
Yes, okay. Yes, actually.
So meta.
Yeah, I laughed out loud when that happened. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
that's really good.
So
All right.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
As we explored the tomb, the GM would often remind us how deadly and powerful the Mantis Queen was, and how it took the lives of many great heroes to defeat her. Her tomb even had a small terracotta army of magic soldiers who would fight to keep her from escaping. Well, at least someone was prepared.
Yeah,
You know?
good,
Yeah.
good.
We reached the final area where cultists were starting to lower her sarcophagus. Lower the sarcophagus of the Mantis Queen into a pool of green goop. By 10:30 p.m., we defeated the cultist, and it looked like the day was won, and we could look forward to the hero's reward of a good night's sleep. Instead, this is where the horror story continues.
Right, this is like, okay, so it's Friday on right before Thanksgiving, so cool, we're all done with work, right? All right, everything's good.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We got more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see how this has gone.
Yeah.
wrong. Instead of ending the game early as we agreed, the GM padded the game in at least 5 different ways. First, one of the cultists was still alive enough to release the mechanism and plunge the sarcophagus into the green goop.
Pull the lever.
After some arguing with the non-sick, non-hurt player, our characters pulled the coffin out, but we were too late.
We were too late.
The Mantis Queen returned from the dead, ready to wreak havoc upon the world.
That's
That
my
was her
feeling
battle
as well.
Yeah.
Given the build-up the GM gave her, I did what I thought was the sensible thing and covered the party's retreat.
Right? Run away!
The game mechanics
Maybe
allows
get
you
a
to
good
go
rooftop escape where they're like, we got chase mechanics.
running away from Freddie Mercury, the bug.
Yes.
The game mechanics allows you to go full defensive, and doing so was the only thing that prevented me from being one-shotted by the Queen. This confirmed that retreat was the only reasonable solution. Yeah?
Yeah. I'm
The
with you.
Queen summoned a giant creature that looked like a cross between a roach and a worm to give chase.
Ew.
Yeah, that's not a good combo. The aforementioned terracotta army did nothing but get smashed to pieces. So much for Chekhov's gun. It would have been a Deus ex machina ending to have the army stop the Queen and her monster, but it would have been an ending.
Yes.
Right.
By this time, the other games in the room had ended, and people were packing up to leave.
Yeah.
Registration had closed. That's how you know it's not a German game con.
Yeah, I've,
Right.
I've
This
seen
is
this.
just for your registration.
I've seen this.
It might be illegal for us to have dice, but we can re-reg.
This is, like you're at the bar and you're sitting around and you look around and suddenly realize all the chairs are on the tables and you're
Right.
the only
Yeah.
two people left
Yeah.
at the bar and everyone's mad at you.
Like, go home,
Yeah.
asshole.
Yep. You're that guy.
After heroic sacrifice from an NPC, we ran out of the tomb and our mage cast a ward spell on the door to keep them from escaping. The monster made its own way out a moment later. We ran for our ship, headed down the river as fast as we could, but the monster not only still chased us, but was gaining. By this point, it was 11:15.
No.
No one else in the room but a few people. They were probably staff members wondering when we would be done so they could lock up.
That is exactly who was left.
It's exactly like the bar.
The GM asked what I was going to do. I said I was leaving and collected my things.
Correct. You did the right thing and should have done it 45 minutes ago.
I left exhausted, frustrated, and wondering if the GM wanted a TPK or simply to punish us for not fighting his overpowered, hyped-up Mantis Queen. Instead of respecting his players' wishes, he chose to ignore multiple opportunities to end the story so he could stretch the adventure for far too long. It's too bad my first experience with this game system was ruined by the GM because I think it has potential for new players and GMs alike. Now I probably won't touch the system again. Drink!
Oh, all right. Yeah, you deserve it. Cheers to you.
Allervant. P.S. The morning session was an organized play, and that GM was 15 minutes late with no apology and spent half an hour researching rules for something his son wanted to do. At least it ended on time.
I think you're being unfair. This guy had an agenda. He had a game he wanted to play, and he's probably trying really hard to showcase his system. I think I get it, right? Everybody's sick and stuff. He may not have read the room correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes people at game cons aren't really good at reading social cues.
Well, except that they had an explicit conversation about ending early.
I get that. And especially if the guys are sick and everything too, but he gets caught up in the moment.
It sounded to me like the guy wanted to play test the combat system,
That
and like,
is-
what do you mean run?
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like to me.
And the thing is, if you're running, a lot of people play test. I've play tested games at game cons. You owe it to the people who are playing to show them a good time. Make sure they have a fun game. That has to be most important. Because it's a sales opportunity if you think about it that way. It's like, did you have fun playing this system? Yeah, it was awesome. It may have nothing to do with the mechanics of the game. It may have to do with the fact that it was just a fun game.
The mechanics is on you to fix. Like you didn't pay these people to play test your game. Right. They paid to come and play your game. Right. And I think the onus is on you. If everyone says, hey, maybe we can, you're sick, I'm hurt, like maybe we can wrap a little early. And apparently the GM said, okay. So when they drop in and it seems like they beat the cultists, you go, okay, everybody, I had a thing planned to fight the Mantis, but I know we wanted to leave early, so thanks everybody for coming. Like that just seems like a really straightforward solution. And I don't know. Yeah, that's the GM who wanted to shoehorn in a specific combat and playtest this super overpowered bad guy. Right. I don't know.
Well, clearly would have wiped out the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even if the GM had said that right at the front, said, hey guys, okay, so I know you kind of did your thing and whatever, but I'd really like to see how this Mantis Queen fights against these characters.
Can we take 15 minutes to roll some dice real quick?
Yeah, just to check it out and see what happens. Like, I think they would have even been okay with that.
Or say, okay, you guys run away, you make it away. Hey, can we go ahead and just run that combat? Because I kind of want to see how things work.
We'll do speed rounds, like just roll some dice, help me play test this, and then not be... and then end at 10:45, not 11:15 or later. And that just seems rude.
Have you ever been in a game with the GMs that are so in love with themselves and so in love with their system that they don't notice that their players aren't having a good time?
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Because I have.
Me too.
Stu.
That's this
me.
guy.
That's me. Yeah.
No, it's not you. It's not you at all. But I have encountered it at cons. I've even encountered it with famous people that design games at cons, and they think they can do no wrong, and it's not their fault. Because they're in a yes-person world where everybody's like, oh, yes, sir, you can't do anything wrong. Everything's great. Everything's great. And the system they ran for me was not that good.
What game designers can afford yes men?
All I can say is that the game that I was in was a play test. The game was in system, but he ran me through everything, and he was sort of boring. It was a boring thing, and it definitely touched on interplay, combat, and we're done. And you're like, well, I was just starting to get into the game. No, we're done now. If you like the system, you can go buy it. And I'm like,
boo to that.
I want to know what that was after the show.
Yeah. We have a mutual friend that knows him, and yeah, you know him. But I can't say that it wasn't bad. It just was. He definitely had an agenda and was trying to showcase his little system.
I had the game run by a professional at a game convention.
Yes.
You guys have heard. I'm
Yeah,
not
I've
going
heard
to
that
say
story.
what, but
I've heard that story.
like, number one, the dude was like. So, I know that Stork and I have both talked about like when we first with the podcast went to the convention and we decided to run a game. Both of us were fucking terrified because we're like,
Absolutely.
we've been sitting around on the internet telling
Pontificating,
people
right?
how
Right.
to play RPGs, and now we're going to show up to a game con and run a game for people, and then if it's not awesome,
And people show up and go, all right,
What
fat
the
man,
shit?
tell us what. So like,
so like every time like we try and be super collected with all our materials,
Yeah.
and we do our prep, and Stork and I generally try and do a play test run of our game for the cons, and
right.
like do all this stuff.
Because we want to make sure that people have a good game.
Yeah, have a
And we-
fun time
Yes.
for 4 hours. Like that's
And
our
we
goal.
are able to deliver, because if you don't play test sometimes with these complicated storylines that I come up with.
I literally had a GM at the table look at me and say, "No, dumbass, what's wrong with you?"
Oh boy.
Because I had been given a character sheet with skills that implied that I was a space ranger and I was a pilot of the spaceships, and the game was sort of historical in nature, so I thought it was like a Firefly kind of a mix.
Yeah.
Right? Until halfway through the game session, I suggested maybe we should just go take my ship and fly over there. And that's when I got the, "No, dumbass, what's wrong with you?" And I went, "Well, why do I have laser pistol and pilot spaceship and all these other skills that are related
Yeah.
to space combat?" "Oh, that's wrong."
Oh.
But you're still a dumbass for
who's-
looking at your character
who's
sheet.
what a
He
dumbass
said
now.
to you, "Oh, the stuff I gave you on the character sheet that you had no choice on, that I picked for you,
That's
is
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah. The pre-made character sheet.
And you're a dumbass
Wow.
Yeah.
for actually looking at your character sheet and following what I gave you. Oh, all right.
Yeah. It was not a winning game.
Clearly it's your fault. I mean, yeah.
And several people have turned me around on the game system in a way that I enjoy playing it now.
And yes.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, like this game system that this guy's working on, it might be really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I played a play test. I've talked about this. It was called The Ward at Gen Con. It's the only RPG I played at Gen Con.
Oh, yeah.
And
Medical drama.
It was it's a medical drama. It's powered by the apocalypse, and it had a GM. I think this was his first time GMing this game, and it was the first time someone had GM'd it who wasn't the designer of the game,
Yeah.
right? Because the
important
designer,
step.
yes, the designer asked this guy to run this game for him.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic, and the GM was very good at stepping out of the way and letting the players do what the players are going to do.
Cool.
And we had a fantastic table, really good role players at the table. Everyone bought into what the concept of the game was,
Awesome.
because you come up with that as you're going, because it's like we never even really quite. It was all very vague what we were doing, but we all worked for something like Doctors Without Borders or something in a war-torn country somewhere. So and this. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know how much that had to do with the mechanics of the game as it did with a GM letting the players succeed and getting out of their way when it's time to get out of their way, and a bunch of really proactive players. We could have probably had that same table and played D&D, a version of D&D I don't like, for instance, and still had a fantastic time. But when you're trying to play test a game, that is a marketing opportunity, to be quite blunt.
Yeah.
And the worst thing you can do is to we're going to do these game mechanics in place of you guys having fun, because that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he's already
Especially at a team
he's
con.
lost one customer right here, and this customer's going to tell all his friends.
He
that-
just wrote into a podcast that has
the guy's lucky.
somewhere around 3,000
yeah,
listeners.
lucky that Allervant doesn't name the game here.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Tens of people are less likely to buy this game now.
I think it was you, Stu, that pointed out to me that that sometimes game designers are not the best GMs. I think you listened to a podcast with game designers, and they were running a game that they had designed, and it was the most boring thing you'd ever heard.
Right.
It was all about mechanics. It was all about, and they're not necessarily the best judge of, or even the best users of their own creation. I think sometimes they get caught up in the minutia of it, and they don't. It's all the cogs and wheels that they design that they're so caught up in, because that's the way game designers think. It's this meshes with this, and it takes somebody from the outside saying, "You've built this wonderful machine. Let me show you how you can use it."
Right. That's that genius level intellect. The good thing about my game is I'm not a genius. I'm a dummy who tells good stories.
I love how you took it personally. I really wasn't going to, because I haven't played your game, but I think that...
No, I can't take it personally because I'm not that good.
It's much like an artist critiquing their own work. It's like, I'm so close to this, I can't give you a solid...
Right.
All I see are mistakes. I know all of the loopholes. I know how to exploit it. I cannot run this game in an honest way, or I cannot look at this picture honestly and give you an honest opinion. I think that in many ways, game designers are the worst GMs of their own game. I can't charge or graphs for that, but it's something that I can just sort of implicit. You know what I mean?
I'm still waiting for someone else to GM Moment of Truth.
Well, or for you.
I would love to find
people have run it, but they haven't run it for you.
Somebody has.
Well, there were some early
Several
playtests,
people
but it's changed so much since then. You know, the final version as it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start paying people.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Men in chartreuse.
Men in chartreuse.
Let me just pick a common color so we're not going to have to pay extra for T-shirts. Jerk.
When you get your kids' moment of truth, by the way, let me look at the rules for that, because that might fit this weird setting I was...
Okay, all right.
That was that game I was thinking about running, and I'm like, this might make a better setting than a game.
At the con, that's going to be a play test.
Well,
now, it's a kind of a subset of the rules that have been play tested quite a bit now. So I anticipate there's not going to be any major breakage.
Well, just let me see what the subset is when you get it done, because I might.
I'll send it to you.
Also, if you've never looked at it, Tales from the Loop, if you just lift the character sheet from that, like the system there can be for any setting. Really, like a kid's setting that isn't like D&D or something. Like it can be set in like 80s. It could be more high tech. It could be whatever sort of kid story you want to tell. Like the mechanics of the game are agnostic to its setting. You could definitely lift it and play, it doesn't have like sanity rules for Cthulhu, or, it has like kids move, right? There's like a body score, and you add your move score or your stealth, or, like it's just a bunch of generic stuff the way they balance the numbers, it feels like teenagers, like it feels like it's geared to roll like kids roll. Like you fail a lot of rolls, you make some of them, and it feels like teenagers sort of failing their way to victory.
But it's not nearly as creepy as Monster Hearts.
Monster Hearts is not for kids.
No.
It is not.
No, it is not. And I think it's important to point out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But something that I've kind of noticed about all of the narrative-focused games, 90% of my enjoyment comes from having a table full of good players.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And a GM that knows their place in the game.
To just chill out and let things go. Yeah. Like that's... Because I've played a couple and...
Put your arms back down.
Sorry.
How dare you.
I started... pontificating. Hello, he's coming around the outside.
Round the outside.
Cinderella story. I just watched that today.
But, like, I've played in a couple that I've had a couple of... I hate to be critical of another player, but sometimes you have to be in your head. And you sit down at a table, and somebody is just, like, wallpaper paste.
Oh, the lump.
You give them Indiana Jones, and they don't know how to play it.
Yeah, that's
lump.
That's a whole different ball game. But, yeah, and it's just, like, sometimes... And I've sat down at a couple of games... and had somebody in the party like that, and it's like a void that sucks all the energy out of the table.
There are negative players. The players that actually count, that like suck energy out of the table.
Yeah, and don't give anything back.
No.
Yep, I've been there.
You've met my ex-wife.
All right.
Can I read the one from Jason? Because his name is Jason.
Yeah.
My name is also
I'm
Jason.
going to pretend it's you.
Yeah, okay.
The whole time.
hello. Insert random douche reference beyond my brain's ability to come up with.
You wrote this.
That
That's
sounds
so you.
like you.
It totally does.
But you don't end your sentences with prepositions.
Don't I? I'm Jason.
Depends on how far down that bottle of tequila he's gotten.
Yeah.
Sekiro on the forums after Rob shamed me on the podcast into joining.
Oh,
And I
look at
thought,
that.
since they were always popular, I'd take a run at some gaming horror stories from my early days.
Now, the
Yay.
most ironic thing is Rob is almost never on the forum.
No.
Yeah,
Or on the podcast.
Right.
right.
Like, it's
Was he local still? they
for
moved.
a short period.
Okay.
Wait,
He's
which
never gonna
Rob
be-
are we talking? Rob Day?
Rob
Rob, who comes on the show.
Hoosier
Hoosier,
Rob.
Sketcher.
Hoosier
Yeah,
Rob.
Hoosier
Oh, does he
Rob,
live
yeah.
far away?
No, he currently lives like 4 blocks away.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
he's
a
soon
mile,
to
probably.
he's soon to live in my neck of the woods.
Which is
not
not
like
still
it's-
not far.
Oh,
no, it's
are
not
they
crazy
moving
far.
to Irvine or something?
No, like he's literally moving to my neck of the woods. Like I just live.
I don't know where you live.
Well,
I live as far as you do from here, but the other direction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's
it's not like-
probably, what, a 15, 20-minute drive?
Yeah.
With traffic.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Sorry.
the first one that comes to mind is when we were playing a heavily modified Marvel Superheroes TSR, circa 84 or so. That sounds awesome and terrible.
It would have been a terrible game at the time.
I
Yeah.
may have actually played that game.
Yeah, I did. I played TMNT that came out with Palladium.
Right.
And that was garbage, and it was the tastiest garbage ever. Sorry. The GM had modified it, because he had to, almost to a Champion's Light system, mostly to buff his NPCs out more.
Nice.
More column shifts for limiting powers? Great, in theory. He was the typical adversarial GM in a lot of cases. I remember the game where we were playing D&D, first level Stone Age tribals in a jungle. Hunting, no problem. Fight this rhino. Ooh, needless to say, at least 4 of the 10 players. At least 4 of the 10
God.
players had to roll new PCs when the rhino stomped us. Good God. Okay, well that's a bummer for the GM.
See,
I
I
mean,
heard this all in alpha voice. All of a sudden, it's like, hunting, no problem. Fight this rhino.
so back to the Phase Rip Marvel game.
You guys remember Alf?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
He had recurring NPCs that, while we were at best power level between Hawkeye and Captain America, these NPCs were godlike. It was like fighting Superman and Wonder Woman clones. Superman was almost impervious to anything. His resistance to anything was off the charts. I think he'd take 175 points off of any damage. And to put in context, maximum human attacks max out at about 100, so it wouldn't even dent him, right? So
He is Superman.
yeah.
OP.
One of the primary reasons why I dislike the character.
Yep.
That's my kids,
Yeah.
when we watched, what was it, Justice League? They're like, he's OP.
Yeah. It's just, I am
You must
not...
have been so proud. A tear. Did a tear for him?
I'm not interested in a character who's impervious and vulnerable and doesn't have to get out of the way of a bullet.
And he has no flaws.
Well,
Yeah,
kryptonite.
and no
I mean,
flaws.
come on.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
he
the
is-
rarest element on Earth.
But still, I mean,
That's the thing. As to how many tiny meteorites from his across the galaxy fucking planet could there be on
landed
Earth?
here.
clearly a
Yeah.
lot.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, when the planet, it was a shape charge that blew the planet up.
Right.
Right at us.
Yeah.
That's
All
what
right.
propelled his little pod
Well,
here.
actually, the little pod managed to, so the rest of the planet falling after. It was retconned in the 198 code.
No, stop. During a smoke break leading up to the combat, I remember 3 of us, all ranged attack power users, debating what to do. And then someone discovered a rule in the book, Alpha Strike. Alpha Strike lets you combine all ranged attacks into one attack for purposes of damage. We were like, this might be our only shot. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Our only shot, because it's ranged.
Right.
Take a shot.
Hey-o!
Combat starts. Super Clone floats down, wanting us to surrender and turn ourselves in. We naturally refuse to oblige. Combat starts. He's an overconfident prick, so he just hovers while the melee guys open up and are unable to dent him. Ranged attacker 1, I hold my action. Some more actions. Ranged attacker 2, I hold my action. You could definitely tell he knew something was up, but wasn't sure where this was going. Soups knocks another PC out. Ranged attacker 3. On my action, we combine fire in Alpha Strike. Here are the rules. We dumped so much damage because raw, the damage is stack. The super clone was blown to his subatomic pieces. whereas he could have taken a few hundred probably if we'd made it past his defenses. We took it to about 1,000 points in one hit.
You want rules as written?
Yep.
Here's rules as
Right.
written, thump.
So the one thing I want to say about that, though, is, okay, so they've got adversarial GM, and that does suck, but a real adversarial GM would have come up with a reason why that attack didn't work.
Actually,
Well, actually, okay, he deploys his special defense force field and no longer is
He
subject
sees it
to-
coming and flies away.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, the GM's not doing a 10 out of 10 job, but, like, at least that
Well,
worked.
look, you
I
can,
would give him like an 8 on
Yeah.
the adversarial GM.
you can have an adversarial GM that's just not good at it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, he just has to get better at it. It was nice to see an NPC who had taunted and been the main character of several Marvel campaigns get their due. Needless to say, we took a break after that. I took up running a Spider-Man power level game of Marvel everyone seemed to enjoy. My favorite NPC being a character whose power was she literally radiated apathy. To overcome it was still in the ballpark for heroes or robots to resist, but average people, nah, just go ahead, take the stuff in the vault. What's it matter anyway?
That's awesome.
What's the name? Is it Office
Meh.
Space? Office Space, where he gets hypnotized or they just be apathetic, and
Yeah.
and then he has a heart attack, so he's just and he ends up being promoted.
Yeah. Anyone want this email is an epic
If it's not,
tale.
it's not too long. Story the second, or How I Learned to Love Gaming and the Bomb. No, How I Learned to Love Gaming and Function in Chaos. How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Is that
Yeah, something like that.
He's subtitled for Doctor Strange.
I first got the Red Box D&D. Got the Red Box D&D. Is that like
Like
The herp?
smallpox.
getting the herpes?
I got smallpox D&D.
I got
Yeah.
the smallpox.
That's
when
why
I
they came with the blanket.
Oh boy.
Jason's like, I just wanted to show up, drink tequila, and talk about games, and I'm stuck with you
and
clowns.
genocide.
Oh,
Listen.
man.
I don't support it, but it can be funny.
Really?
If we can't make a joke about it by now,
Too soon?
when is it long enough?
Is it okay to make Genghis Khan jokes now?
Jenga Khan.
I think it's
Like,
Genghis
he
Khan,
just
mind
said-
you.
It's actually Genghis Khan.
All right.
Yeah.
They believe it's
I
Genghis
prefer Jenga Khan.
Jenga-
They
He
built
sat
a
around and
tower
pushed
and
the
you gotta
tower.
pull blocks
Shaka
out.
Khan's brother.
Yeah. Is there a Genghis Khan somewhere in the country?
Yes,
Like
there
Yes,
has to be.
I believe there is.
I thought we heard that at some point,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think so too.
Sacramento, maybe?
I don't remember.
I think there is.
There might be a Kublai Khan. But
There
I don't
is
know if
that,
there's
for
a Genghis
sure,
Khan.
but
And
that's not...
Xanadu lived Kublai Khan.
Right.
is there a
Legend
Khan that
There is now.
the unfortunate
Right now,
the
people
spelling
are-
would be unfortunate.
Well,
But
that was his last name. So there's a whole name before that I can't remember.
Oh,
something
yeah.
something Singh Khan.
Right,
Right.
that-
Khan
character.
Noonien Singh.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Khan Noonien Singh. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Okay, well,
To make it C-O-N.
James Khan?
Or Noonien Singh, comma C-O-N. That could be the name of it.
You can totally have the James Khan because he's too old to know what this is and he won't sue.
He'll just show up and be like, huh?
So what?
Yeah, James Khan's
don't know, I
alive,
think
I think.
Okay. All right.
I don't know where he's living now that Hef is dead.
When I was 8 or so,
yeah, he's got the red box.
so great present that my mom's friend also bought crossbows and catapults because she loved fantasy novels, and who knows, these games seemed like something boys, my brother and I, would like. Later, I would go to the library and check out the first edition D&D books.
Oh, you know what?
A library had
Your
these?
library. That's amazing.
They're only supposed to have boring books.
Right? No, they're not supposed to be that progressive.
My library definitely did not have those books.
I want to have. Let's start a petition. Let's put gaming books in libraries.
There probably are
It might
now.
be now, but we just don't go there anymore because we have the internet.
Genius.
It wasn't in the 80s.
I think I have a library card. I'm gonna go see if there's a gaming section. Anyway, carry on.
To first edition D&D books. My brother and I had a great summer of campaigns. Then we focused. Then we'd be forced to be outdoors.
Yeah,
well, that's
I had-
important.
I had that dad too.
Go outside, goddammit! Get out of the house.
Now it's illegal for parents to do that.
Right?
Unless they come too.
But father, I'm learning computers. I'm going to make more money in a week than you did all year.
That's fine with me. Any of my kids, if you go back and watch this video in the future, you go into a career that makes more money than I've ever made in my whole life, awesome.
yeah.
Do it.
But in the meantime,
And
go
then just-
outside.
But you should still go outside.
Just give Grandpa Dave a VR helmet and let him sit in the basement is fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Hook me up to the Oasis.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
Just knock before you come downstairs.
Or don't. I don't give a shit because I'll be a grandpa by then.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah, you walk in on what you walk in on. That's on
right?
you.
You come downstairs, you take your chances.
Yeah.
I began to play with a cousin where I first experienced White Plume Mountain. I remember that. It's like, oh, can I just hold it like a laser gun? No. Sorry, spoilers.
No.
Yep.
It's a 35-year-old adventure.
How dare you?
Damn it.
I'm
I'll
offended.
just strike that one right out of my games I want to play.
Yeah, I bet. I got Black Razor.
Oh, that's
Is that a
usually
disease?
it's a common follow-up to the Red Box. It's when you're in recovery, sometimes you can catch the Black Razor.
You get a little older and you have to start shaving. It's terrible.
This was before the unpronounceable Drow Ranger became a trope. When Unearthed Arcana just made me think a Drow Ranger was super cool. That's capitalized, by the way. Super and cool.
Now I want to
super
see
and
Chuck
cool.
Norris as Drist.
I don't.
Just the way that was written. Drist. Drow Ranger.
What was that?
Walker.
Walker. Texas Ranger, that's right.
Yeah, he was a baseball player, I think.
Because he walked all of his... Wow. A sports reference.
He's just a really bad
from
pitcher.
you? From you? Really? Not even good sports reference, but a sports reference.
No, it was good. It was good.
Okay.
I liked it. I'll give it a thumbs up.
I was so out of it, he rocked the field plate because why not? Ah, youth. Somehow, over a local BBS...
Okay, wait.
those were so awesome.
What's a BBS?
Bulletin board system.
Yeah, that's what I grew up
Well,
on.
don't say that to me like, ew.
Really?
The precursor of a forum.
Use your modem on your computer to dial a phone number
It's
that hooked
before
up
the
to some
internet.
dude's house.
Before the internet was publicly available.
Okay, all right.
People would have a computer and they ran BBS software on it, and it was a message board. Sometimes it was a file transfer thing where you could get
And
software.
chat room.
And
Chat room.
and they
And
were
games.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And fantastic. They were so much fun.
Super multiplayer games.
There were RPGs played over it too.
Yeah.
Like in real time playing with 5 or 6 other people and everyone describing what their character does. And
But this is like with 300 or 1200 baud modems.
yeah.
So, I mean, the text is
coming
coming
in
on the screen
Green-
about this fast.
Slower
green
than you can
text
read.
and- yeah.
Right. That was so cool. It was
The
so much
speed of
fun.
type. Okay.
I could actually type faster than a 300 baud modem,
Oh, sure.
I think.
I would hope so.
I didn't actually get to be a better typist until later.
Right.
Like
yeah.
the BBS era, I was very much a hunt and peck kid.
Oh, see, my dad made me take typing in junior high school.
I did too. Yeah.
I never
And
got the typing class.
I'm really glad he did because, whoa.
I took typing, but I never really cared because I could just do it badly fast enough to pass the test.
Yeah.
And that was okay.
That's how I am.
It wasn't until I started playing MMOs
Yeah.
before audio chat was a thing.
EverQuest
That-
actually got me
that's-
typing really well.
That's what got me to type really
you have
well.
to. Seriously, you're like trying to get a message across really quickly, and of course, the drunker I got,
yeah.
the faster things. Yeah.
When I worked as an editor and a proofreader, my typing pushed almost 90 words a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could
Wow.
blaze at typing.
There is a lot of this email left.
To be great.
Sorry.
Listen here, you.
I know.
Have another shot.
Have you got a cold? Do you need to leave?
Somehow
I slipped on that California ice outside.
over the local BBS, but I got a mold. I met other gamers. I found a game near my house. A lot of players Saturday afternoon. That was the nice thing about bulletin boards. They tended to be mostly local people because there were toll
You didn't
toll
wanna make
charges.
long
It wasn't
distance
800
calls,
numbers.
yeah.
It was
Yeah,
actual
and
regular.
you could find strangers on the internet and go out and meet up with them in a
Right away,
strange
yes.
place.
As
Yeah.
Because they lived in your town. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were usually close.
That sounds safe.
Yeah.
It was perfectly safe, right?
Nobody committed crimes back then.
There were no crimes. People just disappeared. They didn't. It's fine.
Natural causes.
Right.
I found a game near my house. A lot of players Saturday afternoon. A friend I already knew was playing in it. Signs I recognize now after the fact that I should have been red flags. I was the youngest. I was probably 13. The rest of the group was between 16 and 28.
That's
That's
normal.
a spread.
That is a spread.
That's an
Okay.
awkward spread.
Yes.
Kind of creepy.
So at bare minimum, they're probably story heavy and I'm still in the roll
I doubt
dice
it. A
phase.
20-year-old in the 80s was not story heavy.
No.
No.
I'm just going to put that out there.
You're not wrong.
Oh no, we were starting to.
Well, it
Well,
depends
wait.
on the 20-year-old, but I'm saying the odds are against you.
Yes, and it goes on to explain what the system you're using because
Yeah.
I love this too, and it's not story heavy.
There were about 11 players. I started out at 4th level, 1st edition D&D, and they were using a central casting book to roll backgrounds.
That's funny.
I remember that.
Yeah, so do I.
I used to have a copy of it.
Oh, I have no idea what that looks like.
It was like a whole bunch of
Archetypes.
backstory, random
book.
generation
Yeah.
stuff.
That's cool.
Basically, it's a book filled out backgrounds, giving new skills or powers or disadvantages, not terribly well balanced.
Oh, well.
And the infamous Arduin Grimoire.
Remember that one?
Yes, I do. I never.
bump.
We knew of it.
Loved it.
No one we knew owned a copy.
We had it. It was like a little. It looked like the chainmail book. It
right.
was like a little book, and it was really cool. It was full of critical hit tables. Random character generators plus overpowering your character. It was full of neat
Right.
stuff, but also neat punishments as well.
Something I'm shocked doesn't show up in Ready Player One,
Arduin Grimoire.
because that would have been some.
If you guys want to look
A
it up, it's
deep
spelled
cut
Arduin.
Yeah.
Grimoire, and it may even be available in PDF out there somewhere. I haven't actually looked it up. In fact, I'm going to after this is over, but I remember
I'm sure
it
there's a
fondly.
PDF. There has to be.
Yeah,
And it was a non-sanctioned. I don't even know if I don't know.
It was
how they made
bootleg,
money or whatever.
man.
It was totally
Yeah, it
bootleg.
was a zine.
It was a zine.
I would bet
and it was a companion to D&D
Right.
that you could everything intertwined, but it was
That
almost system neutral.
From the legends we heard, it fixed a lot of things about D&D.
It did. It added in. If it was a D20 system. If you had a D20 system of anything, you could use Arduin Grimoire.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It was kind of.
And its super abilities, as well as nasty unbalanced crit hit, crit failure charts.
Yep.
Now, in all fairness, we did have a rollicking wild time, and that's the important part.
It was designed for that. Yeah.
Our PCs were heroes in the style of the old books, where wealth was just a means to get better stuff. I spent my gold on ale and whores.
Wait. How old are you? 14?
Yep.
13.
That's old enough to
13?
think about
All
it.
right.
Yeah. That's old enough to
13.
pretend.
13.
Yeah.
I looked at a Rosetta painting. I figured it out.
Right.
A Sears catalog.
Oh, man.
Actually, my character did. My background I'd rolled said that he was decadent, so I saw nothing wrong with dropping serious coin on whores and drugs and missed my knighting.
Yeah.
That's.
It happens.
You know what? For a 14-year-old in the 80s,
13.
that's
13. He was 13. He says 13. I read it.
13-year-old.
Well,
in
now
the
he
80s.
says
It doesn't
14
fucking
in the
matter.
next
14.
sentence.
Oh, okay. Well, he's lying.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus. Maybe he played for a year.
And got a birthday.
Yeah,
So that's what
I heard.
happens after a year.
But
But moving on.
for that age range in the 80s, the fact that you went with a background and you played it out
I
and
know,
spent
sure, I
gold
know.
on it.
Yes.
I was going to say,
that's
I'm
true, yeah.
astonished.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Because I was busy just amassing loot and trying to
Yeah.
buy a magic sword.
Yeah, that you weren't a min-maxer at 14 is like an epic success.
Right.
So good job.
That's all we knew how to do.
We fought the wild hunt, and in my great wisdom as a 14-year-old player, I suggested to Bob the Butcher he should take the horns of the master of the hunt. I don't recall telling him to attempt to sell them back at the temple of Sylvanus.
I don't know what any of
I
this
don't know
means,
either.
but I bet it's real
So,
significant.
like the Wild Hunt, Fae, the fairy thing.
Sure.
Sylvanus is basically
Deal-
a satyr, and
Yeah,
so
the
trying
god of the Wild Hunt. And
Right.
then
So trying
taking
to
a
sell,
holy item that you've just taken off one of their gods and
Oh, I see.
bringing it back to their
Oh,
god.
Arduin Grimoire is on Drive-Thru RPG according to James V. 1971.
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
not surprised.
There was chaos aplenty. In-game and out-of-game. I'm not sure what's more worrisome. A scene where the party primarily male characters, male players, with one lone female character / female player.
I bet you she was somebody's girlfriend. Carry on.
Not necessarily. There were nerds back then.
Yeah.
No, carry on.
Most of the male players were trying to chase them away, but there were some who would
Fair
stay.
enough.
Toughed it out.
Yeah. Were mind controlled and turned into a horribly inappropriate for my 14-year-old's brain orgy.
Right.
Thank God it was a fade to black thing.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
The girl then decided her gray elf ranger got pregnant and it was my characters.
Wow.
Okay.
14. He's 14. He's
14.
as old.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easy
How
being...
old's your daughter?
12.
Okay.
Oh, but my daughter has an inappropriate sense of humor already.
True. True.
Which is, I think, a healthy and wise thing to develop.
Yeah. It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
It's easy being a dad in-game when you and your partner are both rangers and have 2d6 followers, including various druids, tree ants, and etc.
I'll tell you what. In real life, if I could have 2d6 followers to help take care of my kids,
Yeah.
I'd be a lot happier.
Here, Treebeard, hold my baby.
Especially if one's a walking tree. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, fucking watch the kids for a minute, guys. I'll be right back.
Or months.
Yeah. Hold this.
I need to go to the liquor store. I'll be right back. You guys watch the kids for this
It's
weekend.
just a dungeon. What could possibly go wrong? I'll be back in a couple hours.
I don't know what's
6
worse.
months later.
All of that chaos or the chaos at the table. Various fist fights.
Wow.
Literally one player roundhoused another player in the face and knocked a tooth out.
We had.
Oh, it was a
fight-
lark.
We had some fights. Yeah.
I've never had a fight at a table before.
We had
not a physical
we
fight.
we had kind of a fight
No, I never had
I've
that.
seen-
once, but it wasn't a real fight. They were like fucking around wrestling.
Oh yeah. Now, I've seen some heated arguments and hurt feelings and all that kind of stuff, but I've never seen anyone throw a punch.
I remember the guy saying, "Stevie, if you don't talk faster, I'm going to beat you up."
Oh.
And he said, "Why don't we?" And they grabbed him, and then they put him in like a wrestling hold, and then Stevie climbed up the wall, and his feet were literally on the ceiling while the guy's holding on to him.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Wow.
Then he let go of him, and we continued playing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. No one actually was.
He wasn't mad. He
No,
wasn't
no.
actually
It
mad.
was.
Yeah.
It
They were
was
having
all
fun,
in
yeah.
the joke.
Yeah.
I assume. Fist fights around town, knocked out tooth. A GM that would regularly throw a big industrial rubber eraser at people to get them to shut up. What's an industrial rubber? Anyway.
Maybe those,
Remember the
those
big
big
pink-
rectangular pink ones?
That's
Oh,
the teacher.
okay.
You know, used to.
I had a 4th grade teacher that used to throw shit at us. I don't know if he can do that anymore.
I don't.
I don't think you could do that then, but nobody knew better. So
Yeah.
I got hit in the head with a beanbag and the plastic wheel off of a Tonka truck.
I think beanbags okay. I should be allowed to throw beanbags at my students.
Yeah.
We used to have a English teacher that
from
would
a
throw-
shotgun.
That would throw.
No.
That would throw either the eraser or her purse, and I saw her skip her purse off of one guy's head onto another. They were
That's
talking,
impressive.
and she did like this, and she goes, "Gotcha!" It was really. We were all like, "Mrs. Drew, that was awesome."
No, I
At
just
least taking some nickels out of that.
Right.
purse.
I just let my students know that it's definitely okay to fall asleep in my class because that is an opportunity for me to wham a book on the desk next to their head.
Scare the crap
Yeah.
out of them.
That happened. One of my teachers, and he had everybody at the door go, "Shh."
Yeah.
And he dismissed everybody, and everybody came back in, and everybody was quiet.
Yeah.
And he had a quiet class, and the student woke up halfway through the class.
Yep. Yeah. Nobody falls asleep in my class.
There you go. Did you draw on them? It was Sharpie.
I'm assuming you teach older.
High school.
Okay, all right, yeah, because little kids in it.
Yeah, middle school. They don't get sarcasm. It's,
No.
It's rough.
No. It's years of therapy with sarcasm.
First grader falls asleep, you come up like,
How do you like me now? Wake up! 6-year-old.
Used to throw a big industrial eraser at people to get them to shut up, including one time that player ducked and the GM hit 3 other people.
Boing, boing, boing.
Various banning and unbanning of alcohol. I say it's a horror story, and maybe it is, but looking back, maybe that's the way games were played in the 80s.
I'm thinking he's right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's right. That's
Yeah,
the way
I mean,
they were.
I had one game group at Pizza Hut with some strange adult men.
Wait a moment.
Yeah.
Can we get a setup for this?
Did
It's
you
like,
not play it at Pizza Hut?
No.
Oh.
We used to play
I
at
think
Denny's.
we should because it's an
Yeah,
awesome idea.
Denny's.
Well, we would take a
Yeah.
break, and we'd go
Yeah.
to Denny's and take a few dice with us.
Yeah. I mean, we went to this place a lot of weekends, and they knew us, and they just gave us the big table in the back, and we ordered pizzas and stuff. Like we bought food throughout the day.
Fucking genius idea.
And they just didn't care. I mean, they could have told us to leave because
Right.
we were there for like 6 hours. But
But if you're buying a couple rounds of food,
yeah,
And
then-
not disturbing anybody. And,
Yeah.
And filling up the big table that nobody
and
can take.
I as thinking back to, I don't know what I must have been like, 14, 15. Like I'm thinking of the men running this game. Like in my mind, they were in their 60s, right? But they were probably like 30,
Right.
but I know one of them had kind of gray hair, and so I thought of them as like, oh man, these old guys.
Right.
Like I remember thinking like, it's probably a little bit weird that I'm hanging out with these guys, but like, I learned how to play Shadowrun from those guys, and that was a big part of my.
You're in a Pizza Hut. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it was a public place.
That's probably why they played at the public place.
Yeah, so they're not going to get accused of being weirdos,
right?
And they were fine having this 14, 15-year-old kid hanging out. Like,
well, I mean,
pizza and beer.
in some sense, it's kind of kudos to them for taking that risk of being looked at as creepy people to help bring a young kid into the hobby.
On the other hand, it was a time where I could hop on my bike right across town to the Pizza Hut at 15, and just take myself over there with
Mom,
my backpack.
I'll be gone all day. I'll be back for dinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, okay, bye.
We lived in East Long Beach, about as very, very near the border, almost in Los Alamitos.
The border of what?
Between Long Beach and Los Alamitos.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we would ride our bikes to. Do you know Long Beach at all?
Not really.
The War House on West Willow, which is 10 miles away, maybe 8 miles away, something like that. A long way.
I was riding 6 or 7 miles probably, like maybe like 6.
At like 13 or 14, because like we want to go to the warehouse. We heard this store. None of our parents would take us, so we gathered up our money and we rode our bikes all the way down Willow to the store. It was crazy. Had to drive through Signal Hill, go up the big freaking hill, and down the other side. It was awful.
It's very much Stranger Things, but everybody on their bike just going like. You packed a lunch because it was that long of a journey.
Oh yeah, we did. We took food with us.
Again, now if I let my kids play in my own front yard and I'm not out there, I'll get them taken away.
Yep.
Like
maybe.
I don't have a fence around my yard.
Oh.
No. Well,
I'll tell you a story later. Back to the
horror story.
A horror story. And maybe it is, but looking back, played in the 80s, lifelong friends from that game. In all fairness, I poached the characters from the game into a 5e game I ran.
Yeah, cool.
TLDR, some horror stories can make for a good laugh and fun memories, even while you look back objectively and cringe at the what the fuck of it all.
Yeah.
Drink.
Yep.
I think it's really cool that the game that he was playing in the 80s, he was actually still friends with them, and he was able to get them in a 5e game.
Well, there was a while back, there was that dude that wrote in that's like, I've been playing this game for 38 years. Like, and all of us are like, what the shit?
Yeah.
And drink once for long-lost friends and simpler time when we didn't just not know that there were better cities.
Truth to
But we lived through a time before they existed.
Yep.
Thank you for all your time, and thank you for your excellent podcast. I love it, and hopefully I've at least sent you an email that does not involve armor class, falling damage, or player agency.
Literally last week.
At least for a while, Jason
That was
Sickerdo
all of us
on
we
the
get.
forum.
Thank you. Thank you for taking us down memory lane. Arduin Grimoire.
Yeah.
I love that.
That
You
was
can
a
go get
lot
it.
of fun.
Go get it on Drive Thru RPG right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go, wow, this isn't good. This
This is
sucks.
really.
yeah.
I remember it being really. If it's a D20 system, so if it's burp or
Well, it was sort of like a non-official expansion for.
like you said, it was
D&D,
like
right?
I don't even know how they made money. I bought it at the gaming store. I paid money for it.
See, we asked for it at Warehouse, and they didn't have it.
I don't know if it got.
Bootleg, probably.
I don't know if it got.
It
Like,
probably- it
if
may
they
got
got
sued.
lawsuits. I don't know. I don't know what happened. But it was really. It looked like somebody had typed it on a typewriter kind of stuff with bad drawings and put it in this little thing. And so I don't know what the whole scene was.
Anyone else looking forward to Tomb of Horrors and Ready Player One?
I don't think they're going to do a good job with it.
Oh, I hope they do.
I can't get my hopes up.
It's gonna be so expensive to license all that stuff.
I mean, that's
Well,
the
maybe
thing.
they just crawl through the mouth of annihilation and it's over.
I mean, they're trying to make a 100-minute movie with all the stuff that happened in the book. Like, they got to cut stuff. And
Right. Oh, yeah.
I think D&D reference is going to be the first thing to go.
You're probably right. Yeah. What about Zork? You think the Zork thing's gonna happen?
I don't know. That's such an obscure thing that
Is it really?
the normals don't know it.
That's true.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen some I watched the trailers, and I won't spoil
Yeah.
the book, but some of the characters IRL aren't what they are in the book,
Right.
or at least
Yeah.
don't appear to be. And I'm like, oh, come
Yeah,
on.
who knows? I
really enjoyed
I use Zork in my beginner programming class as an example of like how, and we go through and make a quick like choose your own adventure program, but they sit down and look at Zork. They're like, oh my god, this is amazing! Like it's a really fun story. It's goofy and stupid in the best way,
And it's hard because it
Yeah.
causes you to think outside the box. You're like, so when you're in an echo chamber, you can't get anywhere. You say, spoilers, echo.
Yeah.
Oh wow! All of
Yeah.
a sudden you can move on. I mean, it really does cause you to think outside and to think beyond the norm. It's smart.
Yeah.
My favorite was the Douglas Adams.
Yes.
The Infocom.
Oh, yeah, that was
Yeah,
great.
only because if you
The
fucked
the
up, you
lens.
had to start
Yeah.
all over again.
Yeah.
Right.
Just started
Wow.
over. It was epic.
I'd always screw up at the tea. I was making tea and then I'd
yeah.
fail.
I don't think I finished one of those games.
Oh.
I
yeah.
did discover that the thing that your mom gave you is like a bag of holding. You could put anything you wanted in the thing that your mom gave you.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like yeah. Try it someday.
Well, anyway, text-based adventure games,
still
all
out
the
there.
rage in 2018.
Yep. Those
Well,
are
you
all-
know what?
they're all still out there.
If they do the movie right, suddenly people are going to be going online trying to find.
I hope
I'm
so.
sure there are web-based versions of Zork. Now,
There are, yeah. My students play them every year. I expose them to text-based adventure games.
and they go off.
Yep.
That's
well,
awesome.
with our cell phones these days, it's all going to come back around where it's like so much easier to just play Zork than it is to like, oh, my graphics, oh, I don't have good, oh, but this
Right.
works.
Right?
mean,
Yeah, because
just
it
the
probably
fact
take
that-
8 seconds to download.
Just the fact that they can play Zork and save their game is like, oh my god.
Kids these days, we have no save option.
When I turned off the computer, I turned it back on. I had to sit down and start programming it all back
Well,
in again
right.
to play.
I received a big stack of those Infocom games with none of the instruction manuals. So, like, hours and hours of my childhood was like just figuring out how to
How to
move
install
around.
it.
Yeah, like how to like move around in the game, and you can pick something up. Oh, that's cool. And like, oh my god,
I know.
it was fun.
I liked
All on an Atari.
the slightly later generation of like where those adventure games became graphical,
Yeah.
but still required you to like type what you wanted to do. Like, and some of them had like points in the game where like I specifically remember Space Quest 3.
Sure.
You fall onto a conveyor belt and you have to figure out how to get off before it dumps you into a meat grinder. So like here's kid me trying to type quickly to be like jump, don't fall, no, why every time? Oh damn it!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, instruction manuals are for noobs.
Well,
Or
I got through it. Although, like a year later, the family friend who had given me these discs was like, "Hey, I found all these booklets in the garage. Do you want these?" I was like, "Table flip range," and then I read all of them cover to cover.
Oh, Leisure Suit Larry. That was an Atari.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Classic.
No.
Leisure Suit Larry with
Is
the
that a
quest.
2800? What was the name of that console called? What was it called?
Well, I played it on PC.
Well, yeah, there was a Commodore.
And
Commodore
a
had
Commodore.
it.
Probably Commodore.
Yeah,
or the
Commodore
other one.
64. Yeah,
Or Amiga.
or the
Amiga?
Trash 80. I think played
The
it.
Amiga had great graphics at the time. And then
Maybe it was
Atari.
a Commodore. I had a Commodore. I never had an Amiga. Maybe it was a
It
Commodore.
was Commodore, Amiga, and Atari were like the three big
Right.
dogs
But-
on them.
But-
Atari 400, 800. Right. There was the 400 was the first one. The 800 was the
I was playing on the Apple IIe. That's
Leisure
a
Suit
bunch
Larry
of
on the
the
Apple IIe?
no, the Infocom games.
Oh,
Right,
yeah, okay. Yeah, no,
When the discs were floppy.
Yeah.
I specifically remember going over to a kid in the neighborhood's house, and he had gotten a copy of Leisure Suit Larry somewhere, and we were all like, "Yeah, let's figure out how to get this. Yeah, there's gonna be boobs.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome."
It's going to be 8-bit boobs.
Still better than what we had access to usually.
Yeah.
So let's
Just
get in there.
the channel that you hadn't paid for and was all like glitched out.
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah. Whatever we had to do.
You could hear the sounds.
And
though.
occasionally there'd be a shot. And you're like, oh, there was a.
And you sit there messing with the tracking to see
Yeah.
if you can get it to line up.
What are
Anyway,
you doing in there? Nothing.
but the Leisure Suit Larry games where they had an age gate questionnaire at the beginning, and it asked you questions like questions about like Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
Like
See, that stuff I would know.
right, that's the thing. I was like, ha! I'm not a stupid kid. I can answer these questions about U.S. history.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, that's
What year was Richard Nixon impeached? He wasn't impeached. He resigned.
Yeah.
And exactly, it was totally questions like that. Like,
Has there ever been a successful impeachment? Like a full through impeachment?
No.
Pretty much anyone would resign before it finishes because they don't want to be the first president to be impeached, right?
well, it depends.
No. Well, impeachment is
Impeachment is not removal
is
from
the
office.
process. Is the process. So we've had 2 presidents impeached,
But
but
no
not
one's-
removed.
No one's been like prosecuted
No.
for at the end of that process.
Found
Yeah.
guilty or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you call
guilty.
it.
Yeah.
The more interesting ones are the ones that died in duels. That's
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, totally.
it's pretty much like impeachment, just right then and there.
Not that we condone that kind of
Dueling?
impeachment.
No.
I know. I might bring it back up.
Happy Jack's RPG podcast does not condone.
For those
So
listeners
for
who
those,
happen to be in the Secret Service,
or yes,
clearly that's not what we're talking about here. It would be a duel, which means you come up and you
Yes.
honorably say to someone,
Right.
"Hey, let's meet in 2 weeks,
I said that
and we're going to
dueling.
hash this out with guns." Like,
I do remember there was a story about somebody that was taken to court, and maybe it's apocryphal, but I heard about it at fair, so it's got to be true.
Oh, you talking about the guy with the sword?
Well, no. Somebody came in, and apparently, depending on where they were, there was, if they phrased the thing correctly and actually asked for a duel from the prosecuting attorney. So this person went through this thing, and the attorney's like had no idea and said, "Judge, what's he doing?" The judge is shaking his head, going, "Well, it's an archaic law, but he's challenging you to a duel. You're going to either accept or
drop the
drop
charges."
And he's like, "Is this legal?" He goes, "Yes."
That was the Foss class.
Yes.
That was the class that Foss
that
used
was,
to teach.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I remember that
really
story.
happened? That's
That-
amazing.
well, it's somewhere.
It was
in the,
someplace in like Massachusetts or
Yeah.
someplace that
it
had a
was
lot of
still
old
on the
laws.
books.
Yeah, that
and this
sounds
is probably
legit.
in the 70s, and somebody knew enough about the law
Like
to
D20s are
challenge
illegal.
the guy to a duel.
I bet that guy got in trouble just so that he could challenge someone to a duel.
quite possible. It's quite possible.
Because I would.
But there were rules to follow to challenge. So
Yeah.
there was a certain phrase you had to say, and the judge just shook his head. It's like, I hadn't heard about this since law school. Never thought it would come up. But yep, it's perfectly legal. Do you accept the challenge? And the lawyer's like, what happens if I do? You challenge him to a duel to the death. No, we dropped the charges.
And this
All
is some
right.
SCA guy who owns his own sword.
That's
Yeah.
probably what it was.
he's ready.
That's
Yeah.
probably what
Yeah.
it was.
All right, let's go ahead and call it.
Yep.
10:08.
We're listeners of happy.
Thank you for joining us for season 21, episode 5, Happy Jack's RPG podcast. My name is Stu.
I'm Knave!
Jason.
Stork.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, right here, happyjacks.org/live.
This weekend, there's stuff going on.
Sunday, there is, I'm mixing on tomorrow. Sunday, there is a Vampire the Dark Ages game,
Monday is Insert Coin.
Tales from the
And
Loop.
him.
Oh yeah, I'm in that. Oh, and in April I'm starting up my fair campaign.
Oh, cool, awesome,
What? Yeah.
excellent. Excellent, yeah, because no weekend gaming for me in
Or
during
me.
fair. Or you.
Or Dave.
I'm
Or
just
Dave.
part-time.
Oh, you're full-time now.
We need the Poxy Badger.
We do. But thank you very much. We'll leave this song.
By
next
the
time.
way,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
got out my Epoxy Badger hat to wear while I played Sea of Thieves.
Oh, excellent.
It was very good. It made me feel better.
Happy Jack podcast will be douchebag zone. When spring's sprightly wind comes rushing from my arse, fa la la la, fa la la la, fa la la la, fa la 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 la. A zephyr sweet and clear, emanating from my rear, la 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 la. The saddest moment yet is to suffer when that's wet, fa la la la, fa la 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 la, fa la la la, fa la 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 la. I sing with joy most high because my wind is dry, la 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 la. See how the crowds they part at the smelling of my fart. Fa la la la, fa la la la, fa la la la, fa la 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 la. The ladies blanch in fright when they smell what I ate last night. Fa la 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 la.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.